Hey, Sister Isis is not here yet. She just let me know that she will be here shortly in a few moments. So we're going to give her the time to get ready because this is going to be one of our more serious shows. This is not a time for joking. It's a very serious matter. Logan, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. D. Griffin, as always, love and light. It's always a pleasure to see you. This was pretty much put together. I'm not going to say at the last minute because we had planned on having this show for a while, but Sister Isis works very hard with her business, which she will reveal that she was and is the backbone of the business. For me, it was a tremendous shock to find out what I found out. And I'm going to clear it up like I cleared it up before. It wasn't for me to spill anything. I found out long before the world pretty much found out, just those in her inner circle, which I'd like to think that I am. And she revealed many things to me, and I saw things that were happening. But it wasn't for me to break or expose or come out with something like many YouTubers would because of clickbait and hits. Tracy J, how are you? I had to make sure that you're here tonight. So I told her to take your time, only come in. Gina G, welcome on in, sister. Take your time when you're right, because you're going to have to delve back into some emotions. Brother Landon, thank you for being here, brother. You're going to have to delve into very unpleasant. Reese, yes, the lineup is showing up. You're going to have to delve into some unpleasant situations that are still raw. You see, many times we hear situations and stories, and I have to say that many of us, and maybe myself also, when I hear things constantly over the news, different tragic situations, we can become desensitized. It doesn't mean we're bad people, but we keep hearing this stuff and hearing the tragedies and things. And when it's somebody that you love near and dear to you, because they both have been very good to me. I'm not going to say that at the time Dr. King wasn't, but I did not know the other facets of his life that brought tragedy and pain in a very, very bad way. And I condoned them at the time from what I saw, what I felt. I spent time with them. And sometimes people just get past that radar. It's just the way it is. Sometimes people who are living double lives and doing different things, and you feel your judgment is up, that you can assess that your gift of discernment is on point. But there were a few instances where I just wrote it off. I said, I picked up on something, but nah, can't be. And that happens. But when it all came out and it was explained to me as much as Sister Isis could, I was really knocked over. But then again, still, okay. She had to download Chrome for StreamYard. So just gonna take a second. Thank you if you can hear me, sister. So she's coming, and she's going to tell everything. She's going to write a book. She has other people who may be coming on. But, you know, when you have other groups of people, and they were victims also, it's kind of hard to synchronize. You know, somebody's going to cancel. Somebody, you know, doesn't have a babysitter. You know, it's always things like that. So we may have others on the show tonight, just as we may have separate other shows with some other victims that didn't come forward all the way through. She's going to tell you the details, and she's not going to hold back. So again, I'm glad for her to be able to tell her story. The fact that Dr. King was very popular and known, just as she was and is. Some people are in denial. Some people still, you know, hold on to the imagery that they had of him being this great man. And we as Black people, we tend to do that. When we see someone who appears to be good, appears to be doing nice things for the community, you know, we don't want to face it when certain things are revealed. Now, we know people are human. Now, you know I'm human. And I'll tell you my dirt, because I ain't trying to hide nothing and have you disappointed. I have my own struggles too. It's not cocaine and it's not liquor. It's not anger management or any kind of crime. We know what my weak link in the chain was. So if anything breaks, it would be that. But I'm not going to put myself in that position at this age. But for it to be as many, and for him to have it all, you have a beautiful wife, mate, woman, whatever you want to call it, and she's by your side 24/7. I saw it with my own two eyes. Why would you want to destroy that? Now, it's not about numbers, but yes, it is about numbers. Sometimes a good man can find himself in a bad position and slip. He's still a good man, but he made a bad mistake, and it's up to the woman to decide if she wants to carry on. Temptation is at an all-time high, but this was not temptation. This was something very ugly, very monstrous, and deadly. And you're going to find out tonight how deadly it has been beyond what the media has spoken on, which is very little. They have a news bite, and they hear a name that, okay, we can keep some butts in the seats with this news, because that's the business of the news. The news is not there to just tell you the news. The news is there to keep butts in the seats for the advertisers that give them money to advertise on their platform, right? That's all it is. So they will decide what the most important stories are. And, oh, we will. You said 36 years yesterday. You're referring to a birthday? Happy born day, if that's the case. But so we get duped when we see the flashy visuals, the nice graphics that are moving around, and the serious face that this is breaking news, coming usually from people who don't look like us. And we take that more serious, but we don't really know what's going on around the corner from us. We don't know what's going on in our community. Oh, okay, marriage. Okay, marriage. I can't see you. So, I gave you some years. You said 36 years. I put you at 36 years old. But if you're married, trust me, you didn't come out the womb and get married. I know. But congratulations. That is an achievement in this world today, the way it is. And to hold on to it, because that's the building block of family. That's the building block of community. And for the sake, let me know if you can hear me. I guess you can, because I didn't have anybody say they couldn't hear me. Just let me know how clear and crisp the sound may be coming through. And again, if in case of a power outage, because little glitches that can go on for 1 second to hours, I will return back on the phone. So don't leave if you see me disappear when Sister Isis is here, or even now. Yes, we will. Most definitely. That's an achievement. That speaks a lot about you. But life is that way. We have hopes and dreams and aspirations. We see people with certain personalities that are bedrocks for us as we grow into maturity. And oftentimes we will find ourselves as youngsters falling or stumbling with minor things and sometimes major things. And these people that we go to that we feel are bedrocks in our community, they are, oh, she's having technical difficulties. Okay. Let me just give her a message. I'll just give it to her right here. It's no problem. Your family, you know how it rolls. I'm not even going to try to dress it up. I'm just going to give her a message right here directly on WhatsApp. And let me just see if there's any other way she can come in, because I'm not going nowhere until she comes in. if you're having problems with the Chrome and the StreamYard, I really don't know what to say, but there are other ways of getting in. We will take our time. Take your time. Don't get flustered. We're here waiting on you, sister, okay? So just give me an update and let me know how to get through. There are other ways of getting on other than Chrome. Let me see if I can find out for you. But take your time. Don't get frustrated. We'll wait for you. Okay. Yeah. Let me see here. Let me just research something real quick. Sorry to, make you wait a little bit, but this is going to be worth it tonight. Okay. Let me see. Browsers that support. Okay, let's see. Don't you hate when you search something and they give you everything else, sponsored ads and all of this? Okay. All right. Let's see. They're telling me everything else. Okay. I'm going to tell her Firefox, Edge, or Opera. That's what we're going to do. Okay. Sister Isis, you can use Firefox, Edge, or Opera. Firefox, Edge, or Opera. I think there are a few more, but my brain couldn't retain it. Those are the more popular ones, Firefox, Opera, and what did I say? What was the other one that I said? Trust me, she'll remember. Okay, try one of those out. I think Firefox will work really good. Yeah. But like I said, I was up, but I was winding down. I said, okay, I'm going to jump up real early, whatever. I know I was on call for her. Yes, there she is. Message
until just now.
There you go.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm blessed. How are you?
You look wonderful.
Let me put this on maximize. There we go. Now I can see everybody.
There you go. And so you can see the chat room also.
Yes, it's
okay. Good. Good.
Right, yeah. Are we live now?
I'm gonna turn your sound up here. If you hear it echoing, let me know, because I do not want to put these ugly.
Hello. No, we're good.
Yes. So let me just say before we start that you are an extremely strong woman. That goes without saying. I know that. For you to have endured so much and to come through to still be able to smile. And in this lifetime, as I was saying before, it wouldn't be life if we didn't have trials and tribulations. But I will say, and I'm not in the Creator's seat, but you had a lump sum of pain after a sustained amount of pain dumped on you. And I applaud you for coming on to share what you've been through. And hopefully, one thing I will say, and I'll shut up after this, please, ladies, know who you're dealing with. And I wouldn't think that I would have to say this after the time that I spent with you guys. You were, it was one next to the other. It's like you were joined at the hip. Mm-hmm. And how a person can still go on with what they went on with, that's not my story to tell. I know a little bit, but start off from where you want to start off and let me know if you want me to ask questions or whatever, because there's a lot I don't know.
Right. So I appreciate you for having me on here and
anytime. I got you.
Speak on my story in the first place. I know this talk has been long overdue, and a lot of people have been ask me the same question, and it honestly just took me a long time to even be able to come to this point where I could talk about it. And there was a point in time where I just really couldn't, just not just emotionally, but I was still in it very much so. So like for everybody's safety that was around, my safety, and then the integrity of what all we do, I had to take some time off and just give it, give all of it some time before I was even able to open up about this. Just so you know, I'm just going to give one disclaimer. There are some certain things that I cannot talk about yet, only because they're still in litigation. So I'll breeze over it so you guys can understand the gist, but I'm not going to get into so much detail. But you guys will understand after this.
Yes.
So I have some topics, so I won't just be like rambling on. I wanted to start off with the way I was raised. I was born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland, and I was raised in a predominantly military type of household. So it was discipline. It was, did you clean your room? Did you do your homework? Did you do the things that you need to do so you can do the things that you want to do? And it was a no bullshit type of household. I had a stepfather who I love dearly, and we still talk to this day. He was very, very hard on me, and he could be handsy sometimes as well. And I took that in stride, and I realized that this man, he loves me and he wants to see me do better. So he's going to push me like he's going to push his son, because that's how I felt like I was his replacement son at the time. So there were times where it got really very, very hard and very violent, but it would turn into, okay, this is why I had you to do it this way, because you're going to be so much better. And I'll tell you, if it wasn't for that man, I wouldn't have went to college. I wouldn't have went so hard in what I do. I wouldn't have stayed focused with everything. So just a little background. And I wasn't as close to my mother. I was more close to my grandmother. So when I got into a relationship with Dr. Kang, which is not even a doctor, which is crazy, it was very similar to that. So a lot of people don't understand and don't know our real story because it was not spoken about, and I wasn't even allowed to talk about some certain things. But he was very, very controlling. He was very manipulative. In the first year or so, it was just, you know how they say, like in the first, I'd say like 3 years, you're dating a representative.
Yes.
So you don't really get to know that person until like you're deep into it. So I don't know if you guys know anything about narcissists, but they are very good at talking, very good at manipulation and gaslighting you into making you feel like, well, this is your duty. This is what you should be doing. This is how you should be doing it. And you shouldn't think about you first. You should think about them first, because they are, you know, the top dog, the top gun, and you should worry about them first, and then your needs last. So yes, we were at the hip. He separated me from my own family, and he turned into my only family. And meeting him, we actually started off as a like a mentor-mentee type of relationship at first. So, and it's crazy because we don't talk about this. I don't talk about this enough, but he was not even doing medicine on the level that we were at until after I came into the picture. I was actually the one to bring in the idea about herbal medicine, and that actually came from my grandmother, which people don't understand. They thought it was his grandfather. It was actually my grandmother, who we're native, so we are used to not using regular conventional medicine. So we were used to using herbs and alternatives. So my talent was making things happen, as in like I was the one to come up with the idea, come up with the name, come up with the website, the packaging, the way the packaging should look, the material, and even like getting the herbs as like dry form like teas and crushing them up by hand, and then putting them all like putting the powder actually in the capsules. And when we started, I had like this little tiny like 50 count like contraption where you put the little capsules in. And I had to do that like 3 times for one bag. And we had at least 5 bags in the package. And I was up like for nights on end, just doing it until we finally upgraded and got a bigger one and a bigger one. So like our partnership started because he claimed to be a doctor. And when you meet a doctor, you automatically trust him. And I trusted him with my life. And when I realized that it was not as it seemed, it was way too late. So I'm just jumping all over, but
no, it's okay. I want you to go with the flow on how you feel, because we as a people, this is how we communicate. We jump around sometime, and you can let the emotions guide it. I just want to make a statement / question. Mm-hmm. With his appearing to be just a disciplinarian before you realize he was very manipulative, did it feel right to you at that point that he was this take charge kind of guy because of the similarities with your father? Was that something that helped to give him in leeway into your life?
It was familiar to me, and I feel like it drove me to become a better person. Despite the emotional manipulation and the actual physical abuse, it drove me even more to like help people. And I saw us impacting so many people and just like it felt like the right thing, even though I was going through it. And somehow I was just convinced that the reason why it would ever go sour or like he would put his hands on me or do anything to me would be because I did something wrong. So I'm not thinking like, oh, this is not right. And I had no one to really talk to about it, because I remember the first time I did actually try to go to the community about it, or even mutual friends. It was just like they turned me away, and they just told me, oh, first of all, you shouldn't be putting your business out there. And then second of all, they went right to him, and it got really bad for me. So I learned that real quick, not to actually go talk to people about what was going on, because they were automatically on his side, which is very interesting to me. But, you know, it was almost like a cult, or like a cultish behavior, the way things were set up. You know, there are times where he's pretty much done almost everything to me. He's drugged me across the apartment. He's hit me with whatever object is around, whether it's sharp or, you know, pointy or whatever. He's, you know, kicked me in the stomach. He's, you know, punched me in the face, slapped me. He's done everything. It's drugged me by my hair. You know, he's chased me around with a knife. That's stuff that, you know, when I hear about it from other people, it's just like, or when I hear it out loud, I'm just like, wow, like I cannot believe I went through all of that. It was intense. And he was a very emotional type of person behind closed doors, but he didn't show it in public. But, you know, people who know about narcissists, they understand. They know that they're not going to show their ass in front. You know, they want to keep their utmost respect. They want to keep their image intact. So if they saw them in that manner, they will lose. And that's how they feel. Like they have to be a winner out of everything, you know, even if they don't make sense. And, you know, it was just a lot. But I found out that he was lying about a lot of things. Well, almost everything. Honestly, we've been together for about 7, almost 8 years. And it's like, you don't really know him. You don't really know a person. Yeah, you know everything on paper. You know the things that you're supposed to know about your mate. But like internally, you don't know what they're thinking or why they do the things that they do. And for him, he thinks that he did no wrong. He thinks that if something happens to somebody else by him, then, you know, it was probably their fault, you know? So I'll talk about why we separated in the first place. I'm a very family oriented type of person. I saw things I did not like. I'm very serious about keeping families together. I still stand by that. And I just want y'all to know that I would not, and no woman would ever walk away from their family unless something was very, very wrong. You know, even if it's just in their spirit or in their mind, if they would not just walk away from something that looks so great on paper unless there was something very wrong.
Right.
So I started catching on to a lot of lies, and the real main reason why I did. Everybody knows that he perceived himself as polygamous, and that I am polygamous as well, or not. I should say non-monogamous. I think non-monogamous. And I was okay with him having another girlfriend, another wife, and we can get into that all day about why, but it made sense to me. And just like people identify as whatever, I identified as non-monogamous, and I was okay with that. Now, there's a difference between non-monogamy and cheating. People sometimes bring up the conversation of polygamy just for a way to cheat. And that's not right. And I want people to know the difference. Non-monogamy, or any form of non-monogamy, is where there's constant communication. Everybody is on the same page. They know that Bob is going to go sleep around with Sally or be with Sally in some way, shape, or form. And it's not always about sex. Sometimes really just about, most of the time, it's really about building. But it's also the couple's preference. But yeah, so he was keeping a lot from me, even though I readily disclosed that it was okay. He was the one who introduced me to polygyny. And after doing research, I saw that it actually made sense. We tried it before with a young lady, and it was amazing. It was beautiful because I didn't have to like work so hard to do things. My normal day-to-day was going to work, as in like actually doing the herbs, doing the packaging and shipping off, customer service, you name it. I was doing everything. And then coming back home to clean up the house just so I can cook. And then like cook for everybody, not just me, cooking for everybody, and then cleaning up the kitchen again and getting them together, whatever they needed. And most of the time it was me giving him a massage and then going, you know, tending to myself if I had time to go to bed. So that was my day to day. And he groomed me into that, you know, and I didn't know what grooming was. I met him when I was about 19, going on 20. He was in his late 30s, going on 40. So he knew exactly what he was doing, you know. He knew exactly, he was more than half my age, but excuse me, I was more than half, you know what I'm saying. But he was more than half, yeah. But it got to a point where he was just lying about everything and, you know, grooming me into his perfect wife or his domesticated type of wife. Yet he was still going behind my back and cheating. And I say he was cheating because there would be times when he'll send me away off to a trip, make me feel like it was a trip for me or a work trip or just, you know, make up some type of excuse for me to get out the house. And then he'd go and cheat and be with another woman. And yeah, so it was just ridiculous. And then I would notice some certain things, you know, women have intuition. So I'd ask him about it, and he obviously denied it. He acted like nothing. And then not just denied it, he would make me feel like I'm the problem or I'm the reason why or whatever. Or just like try to cover it up and be like, why are you questioning me? I'm a man, you know, just anything to set me up. It was just, you know, he didn't want me to question him because he was the king of the house and king of the jungle. So I had to respect that. Another thing was he did not, how do I say this? He didn't care so much about family in the building part. So he did disclose that he had older children, and we had a routine of getting them and on the weekends, because obviously they had another mom, and he lied to people and said that they were mine. And they were mine. They were absolutely my children, but I didn't have them. And I treated them like they were my own, and I loved them so much. But because of everything going on, it's kind of driven a rift between a lot of that relationship right now. But he made it seem like at one point we had to stop because of me and because of other things coming up, because we were getting so busy we can't really see the children every weekend. So we went from going every weekend to go pick them up, to every other weekend, to maybe every 3 weeks to a month, and then it stopped. So, or he'll go see them by himself, and it really hurt me. It really did hurt me. But later on, I found out that he started having children with other women. So that became a big problem after a while. And it wasn't so much him having children with other women, it was the fact that he tried to cover it up until I found out. And then, it wasn't, I didn't have any courtesy as his woman. Like, he didn't give me any courtesy to just let me know, like, hey, this is what happened. This is what happened. I fucked up. Excuse my language. I messed up. And now we're having more children. So, the person that I am, I'm very, as you know, I'm very family oriented. I still went ahead and treated them like my own too. And they were, we were all a big family, except he didn't want me around the women that he had children with. So, and it always drove a question: why are you not trying to unite us and be actually polygamous and us all be together in some way, shape, or form? Because we're having this family business that we're really trying to drive, and there's no help. I'm literally doing everything, and he's just like the mouthpiece, or like the I guess the sales rep, or whatever you want to call it. Not even a sales rep. He was like the face. He was basically the face of the company. So, and as time went on, he just did less and less, and he was going out and doing more with other women. So that conversation came up a lot, with just trying to figure out what his end game. Why is he running around and doing all this other crazy stuff? And it just got very annoying after a while. But as time went on, more babies started showing up, and the question started coming up a little bit more. So, like, what are we doing? Is this over, or are we trying to make something work? And he'll come up with some type of excuse as to how this should work, or like how this isn't working. Just come up with something. He always knew how to talk his way out of stuff. So I just honestly, like, looking back, it's just it's frustrating, because when you look at it all together, it's like, this man really sucks. He really sucks. But yeah. So later on down the line, and I'm skipping back and forth, but I'll
no problem. We read you 100%. Just flow with it.
So I found out from authorities that he got in trouble in 2017, and he came to me after the fact. After, it had to be, I don't even know how long after, but it was weeks after. He just brushed it off like nothing happened. He got in trouble. He got into legal trouble with a sexual assault case on this woman that we knew. This girl, actually, she was young too. She had to be 18, just turned 17, 18 when he met her, or at least when I met her. I don't know how long he knew her before, but she came to him for some healing, and he was doing this ritual. This is when he sent me off, by the way. He sent me off to, I think I was in Dallas at the time or something. And I was going to see some family, and he made it a big point. He's like, you don't see your family anymore. You have to go, because it's a tradition, or, trying to say it's dishonor to not see your family, and making me feel bad so I can leave. So once I left, that's when he was like, oh yeah, I had a meeting with this girl, and just brushed it off like it was nothing. But when he got in trouble, he told me, well, before he got in trouble, he asked me, there's this girl that got healing from me, but she was her boyfriend got mad that she came over and he didn't, or something like that. And I didn't even know that the girl had a boyfriend, first of all. But when I did find out, I was like, oh, okay. So, but he told me that the guy, which I didn't know that well, was very racist, and his family was racist, and he told him that if he doesn't give them like $2,000 or $3,000, I think it was $3,000, then they're going to go to the police and tell the police that that it was rape. And automatically, me being me, I'm just like, oh no, like I'm going to protect my family by all means. So like, if you're telling me like these people are like just racist and trying to, like get you, and he was telling me this whole story about how even the Dr. Sebi thing, right? How people attack, especially Black doctors who are telling people that they can cure anything. They're gonna attack them and make them seem either crazy or
Right.
something, right? He made up this whole story, and then only to say like, well, this guy, manipulation, is trying to extort me for money. What should we do? Should we give it to him or should we not? And I'm just thinking like, if you did not do it, then, well, even if you did, but I'm just thinking logically, like if you didn't do it, then there's no need to even panic, because we're just gonna go to the authorities and let them know the truth, right? So there's no need to pay them, even if we had that money. Like we, that's not something that I feel like that would make you look guilty, if you pay
Right.
somebody off. So, and that's just my logical thinking. Like that makes no sense. But I'm not thinking like that's a possibility that he can ever go that far with a woman, especially having a wife already. Like I've just never encountered anything like that. So, automatically I took his side on that, and I almost want to say I regret it, but knowing what I knew then versus now, if I knew what I know now and I said that, then it would have been different. I had to work myself through a lot of that, because I felt so like terrible when I found out the truth that he actually did do that. And not only that, a year after that, he also raped another woman. And I'm not just talking, you guys can look this up. You guys can look at his file. He had another pending case that, is not being talked about because it was so graphic. But she had a child. She had 2 children. One passed away, unfortunately, and the other one, is there. And it's just so unfortunate because he knew about them. And this is the one, Lance, I don't know if I talked to you about this, but the babies had health problems. And you call yourself a doctor. I didn't know at the time that he raped her, but even having a child and knowing that you had a child out there and knowing that they have issues, and you as a doctor, you just turn away and act like they don't exist because, oh, quote unquote, you had a wife. And that's what he told me, because when I asked about him, he didn't want to answer. He just said, well, she was trying to break us up and all this, just trying to make up excuses. And I'm like, there is no excuse after that. So I just had a very, like, I was disgusted. I will just say that. I was just so disgusted when I heard that news. I heard that a little bit after the whole situation was done, but it was just so horrifying to hear about. Not only that, he had, when I say I lost count of how many kids he had, but I kept up with the ones that I did know. I think I'm at, I think I stopped at 5. And then after I left, I learned about another son that was in Louisiana that he acted like, out of those 7 years, never said anything about, ever. So it was just things like that. I just could not stand for it. And one day, this is the reason why we separated. I had to come to him and I said, the whole point of us building is so I can be able, not just me, our family can be able to grow. I can be able to provide and help out like I used to. Because before he met me, I was working. I was doing the things I was building. myself, and I was taking care of my grandmother. And I got taken away from that so I can build with him, so we can come back and take everybody with him. His mom, my mom, my family,
Right.
be there and us have that big, what do you call those families? The multi-family home,
Extended.
extended
Yes.
family. So,
Yes.
because I believe in that. I believe in like at least three generations in a household, as many generations as you can. I feel like if you are doing well enough, everybody should move in. You will save money that way anyway. But everybody should move in. We'll have our separate wings of the house, and whoever wants to, come through. Because I grew up in foster care. Like, my grandmother, she was a foster
Right.
mother. So I'm used to that. I'm used to multiple people being in the household, and I loved it. It's just like a sense of community, a sense of tribe, just being in
Right.
there. And I wanted nothing but that. I didn't care if they weren't blood related to me. I said, if they are willing, come. Like, I thought that was just the most beautiful thing. That's why I was okay with poly. That's why I was okay with all of that. But
Right.
just the way we went about things was just so terrible. It was so horrible. So that's why I say it's not for everyone, but for the people who understand that concept and won't take that as like a sexual thing. That's great. I commend them, because it's not. It's actually you actually
Right.
have less sex doing poly than anything, and you have more time to yourself. That's the best thing ever. You get to work on yourself. But I'm digressing. So I got to a point where I just had a breakdown, just complete like nervous breakdown in the middle of the night. And I said, I'm not doing this anymore.
Take your time, sweetheart. Take your time. Take your time. Take your time. Like I said, I'm just going to talk for a little while just so you can take your time. But people don't realize how real situations are. We look at these things from the outside. We look at the deadly results from the outside. We focus on what was done on a superficial manner, the abuse, the physical stuff, but we don't really look at how it takes a toll on your soul, on your inner being. Long after a person is locked away, that this thing that you have is still there, and it takes time. It's very much real. You can't get away from it immediately. You must deal with it, even sometimes when you don't want to deal with it. It's still there. We can look at you physically and say, oh, you're such a beautiful sister. You have a beautiful smile, but nobody knows the pain that you have inside. And it will subside and it will dissipate. But something of this magnitude will take time. And we're all here for you anytime. You know, you can call me, and I know there are many other people that you can call because I'm a part of your extended family. And I will say truthfully that you are a good woman. You were taken advantage of greatly. You're a good, I know you. And I don't know you like, oh, we go back 15 years, whatever. But just being around you and observing you and seeing how you are, I know you are. And I love you very much. And the conversations that we have, you feel my spirit. We may not talk a lot because you're busy. I'm a little more free. But this was not your fault. You don't deserve this. And things will get better from the inside.
Thank you.
Because you have a lot to offer.
Thank you so much. So, without me knowing everything that was going on, I just knew that this relationship, and I should say that very lightly in air quotes, relationship,
Right.
wasn't going anywhere. Not only that, on top of the abuse and all of the things that happened to me, there are times where, I'd wake up and he'd be on top of me, and I got pregnant a few times, and I never talk about it. But he forced me to get abortions, and later on, I understood why he didn't want me having a child with him, because if I stopped anything and like you know, had it stopped and had a child, that would be my job. I would be motherhood all the way, because I didn't have the opportunity to do with that with other children because they didn't stay with us. If I had a child, obviously things would have kept going in reality, but to him, like, oh, that's my cash cow. If I stop, everything stops. And he knew that. He knew that he didn't know how to make those supplements. He knew that he didn't know how to, you know, be on customer service and do the computer stuff. He didn't know how to do anything because I did all of the work. I literally did all of the paperwork, everything. Like, I was his number one person. He had it so good. He didn't have to do anything. I just needed that support mentally. That was all I needed, just to know that I had somebody in my corner. That was it. And what drew me, like, my last straw was the fact that I saw, as I left, my grandmother, who I identify as my mom, it really hurt her. And I wasn't helping out. I wasn't able to help out because from the time that we got together, it was control. So that meant he controlled everything that I wore, what I did. He tracked my phone, he bugged it. He, like, even with my cars, he sold my car that I came in with and gave me another car. And I got in trouble because of that stuff, because one of the cars that he gave me ended up being stolen. So I got really messed up for that. And I'll tell you about that in a second. Even like the bank accounts, he wanted me to surrender my bank accounts that I had before him and put it all together, and all of it was his money now. Like, so he had to control everything that went in and out. So I got to a point where I got very, very skinny because I wasn't eating and I wasn't able to eat. He literally engineered me to have an eating disorder, because if I got a little bit bigger, he'd start going off on how fat I was. He'd go off on how much I was spending. If I spent any more than $50, even if it was for the whole house, he started some shit and it got violent. So I had to be very disciplined. And I saw he kind of like engineered or changed the narrative to where it made more sense. Like, oh no, we have to eat less. You know, there are people out there that are breatharians and people are disciplined. You know, food is, you know, not, he changed my thinking of how food is. And on a logical level, the way he explained it made sense at the time. But when you started seeing me wither away, that didn't make sense. It got to a point where he got concerned about my health. And I started getting very sick just because of the emotional damage. And then the food, like, you know, not having food and nutrition. So I'm like, today I'm working on like building myself back because I got so small. So yeah.
It will come. I said it will return and it will come, because you know, there's a lot of emotions tied into food, and when somebody can just come in and manipulate you that way. Yeah. And I noticed some things. I noticed some things along those lines, and I began to see. I'm not saying that in hindsight to make myself seem as though I'm some guru and I could see, but something was, you know. I remember the day when we were dropped off at the spa all day long. Remember? And
yeah.
I picked up on that.
Yeah.
And yeah. But it was a control thing because we had to eat what he made. And we didn't have the free.
When he makes stuff, or like when he's ready to eat, that's when everybody eats, right? Y'all can't eat before then. Yeah, I'll tell you about that. But go ahead.
I picked up on that. But go ahead. I just wanted to interject that.
Yeah.
I picked up on that.
They were, remember on the Limitless event, the first one, you came to the first one, right? That was the first ever one that we did, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that one I planned, and he hated the fact that I got so much recognition for that, so much credit for it.
Wow.
He hated it so much. He got so sour and pissed off, and you know, he always wanted me to, whenever people would talk about it, he'd try to like change the subject back to him, redirect the conversation. It was just so bad, to the point where the next one, he did not allow me to plan it because he wanted all the credit, and it was really bad. That second one was terrible, honestly. You know, people
he should be happy that he has a mate that is so great.
We were constantly in competition. Now, it wasn't on my part, but I
know that. I know that.
you know, whenever anybody gave me any type of light or recognition, it was like, no, you know, like it's almost like a sin to him, you know, that we can shine together. Like, no, he had to have all of the light. He had to shine all the time. Otherwise, you know, it's blasphemy. So it was just a lot to deal with. And some people, they noticed, but he would just deny it outright and just turn it into something else. So I feel like I'm missing some parts. I know it's like kind of spotty, but there was a lot that happened in like a small time period.
Right, so, right. No, but just tell yourself we will bounce around because it all makes sense. And I've noticed that like with different interviews I've done or conversations, as I like to call it, the emotions sometimes when you go back and you might go forward in the story, but remember something else. It's okay because at the end, everything will come out. You know, and even if we finish this, as long as you want to have it, we can be as long on as we want. And you say, man, I forgot this part. And you can come on back. Because the way it was done and given to you wasn't in some incremental way, like when you're in college and say, today we're going to do part 1, part 2. Abuse is not like that. You're abused before you even realize it because you're set up. You're groomed, manipulated. You don't know what's going on. So when you tell it with the emotions of telling it and finally getting it out of your system, you're going to feel it. It's not going to be like writing a police report in chronological order. Mm-hmm. It will be that way. So let's take our time. We understand.
So, and I've never talked about this because I had to get through the litigation part of this. Somebody just put on the chat, the stolen car part that's no joke. I got kidnapped in the middle of the night because of that. You know, they ran plates and they said, oh, she looks suspicious. A Black female with locks, you know, she probably did it, even though they could not prove it. But there's this weird statute, I think it's called statute in Texas, where it's assumed, even though you have permission to use a car, and the car was given to me, maybe not in my name because he wanted the control of that, but it was given to me to use. And that was the time when I was literally trying to leave him. I drove out, I left because of my safety, because it got really bad to the point where I was bleeding and, you know, it was that was a very violent night and very traumatizing for me. I'm not going to speak on everything that happened because I don't talk to people about it, but I'll just let you guys know I got PTSD because of it. And he was the one to pick me up from jail, which was crazy because I was leaving. And the only reason why I came back is because I needed to give him all of this stuff. I was literally ready to be done with it. I was going to give him the cards in my name, the car that he gave me, and leave without a car. Pretty much all of my belongings, my possessions. He said, you can have it, just leave me alone. And I ended up staying longer because after I came back home, not even home, to the house, I wasn't able to leave the room for like 2 weeks.
I understand. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You've done so much for so many people, and I've seen that, and you did it with the love out of your heart. So as the emotions flow, it's okay. We're going to take it a little bit of time, but I'm not going to push you. But as you want to go forward, let's go forward.
We're going to get through this.
I'm here with you.
I'm putting everything out on the table today. The reason why I stayed, there was a girl. Yes, there were other girls before that can get into their stories. I'm actually going to write a book about it.
Yes.
So everybody can be heard. There's a lot of people have been standing in the background dealing with this by themselves. And I want to talk for them.
Right.
I want to I hope that more people will be able to come out in the forefront.
Yeah.
About it. Because I never want this to, I would never wish any of this on my worst enemy. But people thought because I was silent that things were okay and oh, I got away and things were just fine. I'm still dealing with a lot. And there was this girl, there was this woman that came. She, of course, she was young too, but she came into the picture. Beautiful model, video vixen. She did her own show. She did a lot of things. She had a lot going for her. I'll just say it like that. And she came to the picture, and I was checked out by then. I was literally checked out of the relationship. I was doing my duties as his woman, his wife, because I knew that that's what I was supposed to do as the woman of the household. I was here to just help and just be there for the collective and continue on the work. Because he made it very clear that things would not be good if we separated and tried to be done with it. So he talked his way back into making things right. And the abuse stopped for a little bit. And just hints here and there of, okay, it might get violent if we keep talking about this subject, or just little hints here and there. So, but it got better at one point, and to me, I felt like that was enough at the time, and I was just not in the capacity at that moment to just up and leave at that moment. But that was literally within, I'll say, I was trying to leave within 2019, and um, by 2020, that was when, and this is the end of 2019, I should say. So, in the 2019, going into 2020, that was when the pandemic happened, and I mean, nobody was leaving. People had to work on their foot, so nobody was able to leave anyway. And it was just like divine timing at that point. But it was also a time of reflection, of seeing who we are as people, as a couple, and what we're doing here. And I did a lot of spiritual work and a lot of spiritual healing on myself within that time period.
Right.
And I just checked out of the relationship with him. So that being said, I was okay with him going to date other women. I didn't even question it anymore. I didn't care. I just wanted my peace. That was it. And I knew that I wouldn't be able to just leave without a fight, without a lot of embargo. So even if I wanted to, I had to choose my next steps carefully. So, and I wasn't in any position to take care of myself at the time. Even though I could have probably tried to reach out to family, but my family was so far gone just because of the distance, like emotionally, mentally, and physically distance. Everybody was very far from me. So it wasn't just so easy for me to use any of our cards and just get on a plane and go. It wouldn't have been like that. It would have been another situation, So, and I didn't have many friends here. All of my friends, his mutual friends too. And I remember I've tried to come out to the community a couple of times. I even went to elders and asked them about it, and they said that I need to shut my mouth and I need to stop talking about our business. And they turned me away, or they said they would just give me the audacity look, like, why would you talk about him like that? Like they didn't believe it.
Wow.
So that just made me feel even worse. And it just felt like the collective of the community was standing by that. They were standing by him no matter what. And literally, I kid you not, a lot of them are okay with domestic violence with family members. They're okay with that as long as he's healing. Because in their eyes, they think that he's out here actually being a doctor and healing people. And maybe on some occasions he might give somebody a good pep talk, like a motivational speaker, and they'll feel healed. But that's not healing if he's hurting you to gain something, because he would never do stuff unless he's gaining something. Even when he was in the forefront, feeding the homeless. He always wanted me to be the camera person so I can show that he's doing it for like that 1 to 5 seconds. And then when the camera's off, everybody else is doing the work. It was just horrible, you know, and he'll even make videos of him. Say he'll take a day out of like 5 months to go see his child, his children. And then he'll take videos and say, hey, I'm such a great father, you know, just so people will know. And he'll show people as he's talking. It's just so, it was so manipulative and people never knew it. So when I come out, because I was quiet most of that time, but when I come out and say, this is what's happening, everybody looks at me like, oh, she's lying. Oh, she's just a gold digger. And I want to let y'all know, because this is a really big discussion or like a rumor that was going on, which was horrible to hear. So I'm just thinking to myself, even if that were true, what type of gold digger stays for that long to get somebody's money? You know, like that it just disgusts me that people would even say something like that. It's always there.
Let me just say, you can never be a gold digger on the empire and the funds that you've created. How could you be?
That part, it's like if all of this was created by me, how can I be gold digging on him? He came in with nothing. You know, right. I came in with something, but it wasn't like big, but it was something.
Right. So you weren't flashy
at that time.
You know what I mean? What are you going to be, a gold digger on yourself?
That's what I'm saying.
I won't even say the majority. You did it all.
That's
you see?
What you're telling people. So, one of the I'm gonna get into what happened with the girls. Yeah, let me talk about what happened with the one girl. This is the reason why I saw him for who he was. Because this girl came into our relationship, they started messing around, and then when I found out, because women have intuition, you can't hide that from me. So when I found out that he was sleeping around with this girl, that's what it seemed like at the time, and I know that wasn't true because he's a predator. But I saw it as, oh, he's sleeping around with that girl. You can't hide from me. I've been with you for how many years, and you still think you can pull one over on me? Like, I kept quiet a lot for a long time, but it was just really very, very sad to watch. But long story short, he lied about a lot of stuff. The same stories that he used to tell me when we were getting to know each other, you know how we talked about the representative? They started changing. And they changed to her liking because I knew what type of woman she was. He knew what type of woman she was. So they started changing to sound more familiar for her. And I asked him about it. I said, why did you change up the story? What did you mean? I thought it was this way. And she became pregnant. She had her own apartment, almost lost it. And I had to literally pay for her apartment for her to stay there so she won't, lose her stuff because she was in between. She didn't know where she was going to go. Her family was far too. And he separated her from her family, her friends, made her stop working the job. She was going to work with us. She did work with us for a little bit, but it just kept going on and off because they did not see eye to eye. Now, he did not want me talking to her. He did not want me saying the truth. He did not want me telling her anything. He did not even tell her that he had other children there, which was crazy. It was crazy. He had a 1-year-old at the time, 1 or 2-year-old, that he did not want to disclose to her. And I'm just thinking to myself, if she's having your baby, why wouldn't you want to disclose that the baby's going to have siblings? So,
she wanted it at the time. But I'm going to interject. There was a time when he called me. Mm-hmm. He called me out of nowhere. I remember he was in the kitchen and she was there. And he tried to make her say hi. She said hi. But something was off. Mm-hmm. You were there. And you did some things in the kitchen, but I saw it. I saw the rift. I didn't know what was going on. Yeah. I said, but I see, you were very upset. You didn't do anything you didn't act out, but your body language, and I saw it. I wasn't looking or digging for anything.
I was disassociated
I was like,
at that time.
Yeah, that's what it was. I saw it. Yeah. The conversation was like 20 minutes, but I saw it.
he did not want me speaking about it to anybody or in public or not. You know, he didn't want our business out there because that's a taboo from where he's from, apparently. And it's really interesting. They don't talk about what's really going on. I feel like where I'm from, we need to talk about stuff like that so we can get to a solution as opposed to it just being something swept under a rug, you know, because there's going to be a mountain swept under that rug at one point.
Right.
It's going to be noticeable. So you can't just act like it's not there. So she got pregnant. I had to sit her down. Can't remember if it was before or after I realized that she was pregnant. First of all, they didn't tell me until 3 months after. And I knew, I had a feeling. And I had to, you know, have that conversation with them. But I had to have that conversation. Look, if you're going to come into this relationship, because they were dating, they were doing their thing at one point, told her, you should know what to expect. As the woman that's already here, I'm going to let you know if you are okay with him sleeping around and being, you know, with other women and, you know, doing what he wants.
Okay, Isis, if you can hear me, your screen froze. Your screen and your sound froze. It might cut off. If you can hear me, I want you to sign off and come right back on again. Maybe the power is low on your phone or the internet connection. Okay, she's back. Okay.
Happened.
There you go. I'll get rid of the other screen.
Okay.
Okay.
Like they didn't want me talking about that, huh?
You see that? You never know. You never know.
I'm gonna reveal all of the truth. So I'm trying to put this on full screen. I don't know if it's gonna do that again. If it does that again,
no, I'll do it from here, full screen.
No, you're good. You're good. It wasn't you. It was on my end.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it was on my end. I had technical difficulties earlier. If I have to go back on my phone, I will. But where was I? Talking about the pregnancy. Oh, yes, I told her what was going on behind closed doors and what she should expect because he's just that type of guy. I tried to rationalize it, make it seem like, oh, maybe, you know, from where he's from, that's how they move, or like, I'm not quite sure why he does that. Maybe he's just not ready to come out and just say that because, you know, obviously we're open. We're in a polygamous relationship. You're his new wife. You're not any lower than me. You're just, you know, you're just new. So I need you to know these things moving forward because I want you to manage your expectations and I want you to not get upset. I know it's human nature. If you want to get upset, you can get upset. I'm not trying to control that.
Right.
However, you just know what you're getting into before you get too deep into it. Now, that didn't go so well because he made me seem like a hater. And he literally, made it seem like I was throwing dirt on his name and calling him a whore. That's in his words. So, which was kind of weird because, you know, whatever. It was just really interesting that he would even say that, you know. But if the shoe fits.
If you're whoring around, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, you have a woman that's still by your side while you're figuring yourself out. Because I understand, as an adult, a lot of people, we're so programmed and we don't get a chance to really explore our own selves. And we just jump into whatever situation and just like have to go within those lines. And I just don't believe in that. I believe in getting to know your partner and their needs and trying to accommodate for like whatever their path is, because everybody's on their separate paths. But, you know, if you're blessed enough to be with a person where you guys can be parallel, then great. I wasn't sleeping around. If I even looked at a guy, he'd think that I was being a whore. He would literally gaslight me all the time and project a lot. But and he just did not, a lot of things just didn't fly with him. So had to be one of those conservative type of women around him, you know, and just help myself to learn not to look too long at people, just like keep doing what I'm doing and put my head down and just work. So I kind of like resorted to that. So that being said, when I found out that he was lying, I found out because of her. And I'm so grateful because of her. Because at first we did not get along because he did not want us to get along. So he would pin us on each other. When something happened that was wrong, he'll say, oh, it was the other woman. It was this. She did that. So, you know, she's making you feel, or she feels like this. You know, just putting things in our head so we won't come together as women, which is the whole, one of the points of being in a poly relationship. You're supposed to have a good friendship with the other woman, you know, when you're in these things. That's the only way it's going to work. If the women don't get along, there's just pack it up right now. Just throw in the towel. It's not going to work. It's going to be hell for everybody. So I tried my best, and he made me feel bad about it because we weren't getting along, and I just couldn't understand why. And then later on, I started figuring out, because we came together one day, and I had to stop her. I said, "Why are we doing this? You do realize I want nothing but good for you, and I don't mind sharing. I don't care. Like he's all yours, you know." And that's where the title of the book came from. He's all yours, literally. But
right.
I really stood by that, and I wanted her to know, like, I want you to feel comfortable. I want you to be here because, you know, we make each other's lives better when we're around each other, when we're like growing as a unit. When we're going against each other, it makes things just as hard, you know, just makes it so hard for anybody. So we started putting two and two together and understanding some truths about what was going on, and certain things didn't add up. And that made me realize that he was lying about a lot of stuff. But not only that, I found out that he was also abusing her physically, emotionally, mentally, all of the things. And when I found that out, I just couldn't believe it. It got to a point where it got really bad because he got really comfortable with doing it in front of me, and I had to check him on sometimes. And it got so bad that when she had to be maybe 7 months pregnant at one point. And I had to literally get in between them, like get in front of him so he can hit me and he won't hit her, literally protecting her stomach. Because when I saw that, I freaked out. Like it didn't make any sense to me why anybody would feel so comfortable. Even if you're an abuser, why would you feel any type of comfortable with beating your wife that's pregnant? That's just horrible. Right. So that's how I know he did that. He has 3 charges. He has 2 sexual assaults that are noted, and domestic violence against a family member, and not with her. It was just so horrific that they didn't even want her saying all of it during the court. They wanted her to wrap up the presentation by just letting them know what happened. And they didn't. It was on the news. They didn't even cover everything that happened, truly. And the way that they depict me was just so horrible too. Just like, oh yeah, and they're having. By the way, he did sexual assault and domestic violence, and then she's having a civil suit against them. Like, y'all didn't even have to include me in this part, but yes, yeah, he was on the news. So it was just so horrible. The story was so horrible. They didn't even report everything, but they put it on the news just so it can be, so people can be aware of what's going on. So they're hoping that a lot more people come out and say what happened. You know, and it's crazy thinking back. I'm sure there was a lot of times when I put myself in harm's way, and I could have died because of the things that were happening in the background that I had no clue about. You know, one of our mutual friends, you and I are mutual friends, I'm not going to say, but told me a story that somebody tried to put a hit on me because of whatever was said in the background, because what he said to somebody, and they tried to say that I said it to someone. I'm not even sure, but you know, I'm just thinking to myself, I could have died because of this man and him not being like forthcoming with what's going on and what he's doing.
Yeah.
You know? And that's very scary to even think about. But yeah,
It's
it's just been a mess ever since then. So fast forward, he got in trouble, obviously, and I need to figure out how to put this on Do Not Disturb. I'm getting my messages. But he got in trouble multiple times. Um, I didn't know about. Well, actually, yeah. The second sexual assault came forth in late, like at the same time that the domestic violence, I believe, like around that same time. But it actually happened in 2018, I believe. I could be wrong. Don't quote me. It's around that, like
right.
2019 maybe. Um, so it's been like a long time coming, and he had no inclination to stop. He did not think that he was doing anything wrong. He just was grooming women and taking advantage of them. He did not really see women as a full class citizen. He saw them just like back in the slave days, like 3/4 of a person or 1/3 of a person, like he did not really see us as full human beings. So he thought that any woman is his property. That's how he felt, and he had no respect for anyone. He had the utmost respect for men. He would not, go there. He'd talk to some of them that he knew he can dominate a certain way, but he would not start stuff with men. But it was always for women, always manipulating and, getting what he wanted through that. So it got to a point where we had a lawyer from the first time. And he didn't like how he was doing stuff because, client privilege, client lawyer privilege.
Right.
They say whatever to them, and they're not going to criminalize them. They're not going to incriminate them. But there were times when I had to leave the room so they can talk. And I'm sure, looking back on it, I'm sure that the attorney just said, okay, he's guilty. So he told him to take a plea deal. The first person, he told him to take a plea deal. And when he talked to me about it, I was like, no, don't take a plea deal. You didn't do it, And I guess later on, like seeing that the guy couldn't do much for him but that, he said, okay, let's get another lawyer. So when I say we pretty much use most of all the money that we use for that we got from our business and everything went to lawyers, all straight down the drain. So I'm saying all this for a reason.
Right.
After a while, we went through about like 5 lawyers, and lawyers are not cheap, if anybody knows, especially for a criminal case. You guys can look it up. Go call lawyers right now, tomorrow, and ask them how much it is starting for a sexual assault case. Not even that, more than one. It's not cheap. And we went through 5 lawyers. So you guys can do the math, minimum. It's not cheap. I'm going to say the 6th lawyer, I just said no. That was like the very last moment. I said, you cannot keep going from lawyer to lawyer. You need to let them try this case and like be done with it. Because if you had all the faith in them, then that's what we should go with. Now, he took that and told everybody else during that time that I was taking money from him and holding money, and it turned into a whole rumor that he was starting, and he got in trouble and got locked up, by the way, that during that time right then. And that was right before I said no. I mean, sorry, that was right after I said no. I said no, and then he went to jail, but he wasn't telling me that he was about to get arrested until afterwards.
He was very desperate. He was very desperate.
Very desperate. And because
he called me. He called me several times trying to see. These are the things that I can say now that you're here with me, that I wouldn't say that or outward to add more fuel to the fire, because it wasn't my place. But as an addendum with the lawyer on FaceTime, the same lawyer who was with him, he was just trying to hurl so many bad things. That was one of them. The other ones, it's neither here nor there. Oh, but she's taking my money. She's taking this. She's taking. call her and tell her to stop. He was playing the victim with me.
Yeah. He was telling everybody that, and people were harassing me and going off and like calling me. And at that time, first of all, I was separated from him finally. Like we've been not together since I believe 2021. So I think even more than that. Yeah, no, 2021. And I was still paying the rent at his place, which didn't make any sense because that place was like, it was a high rise and it was the amount that you would be paying for a whole house, basically. Two houses. Right. And I had my own place and I had to get roommates so I could get myself back. And we didn't tell everybody that we weren't together at that time because we had to figure out all of the things separating. It was not an easy process of separating. So because everything was like together, it was mushed. So we had to figure out how that was going to go. One of us couldn't go without.
Understood.
So I told him no. I said, there's no way. Because if we are trying to separate and you are still like, first of all, he actually had other bank accounts. That's the thing that he didn't want me to know about. But I found out because some clients were paying off for certain packages that they had gotten on a payment plan. And I'm just like, where is the money going? Because we had a joint bank account still. So I would be able to monitor all of those things and check it off. Like, oh, this person paid, so we're good. And they were paying it straight to him to another account that was not disclosed to me. And he had, I think, 2 or 3 other ones. And he made another business outright with another girl and everything. Like, I peeped all of that stuff. And it was just ridiculous that he would come over to other people and tell people that I'm the one taking money when he was literally the one taking money from our accounts. And I was seeing it, and he would tell me this other BS story of why he has to take this. I have to give this to pay the lawyer. I have to give this to, like he'll make up some stuff. And then I found out the truth that he was literally just stealing from our accounts and putting it into his own, and making his, like, kind of putting his emergency fund away and then some, but turning around and telling people he still wanted my help at that time. So I was supposed to be the one in charge of helping him while he's on this journey because he's the one who put himself in jail by getting in trouble. He wanted me to get him out by getting bail or whatever had to be done at that time, but yet he was spreading rumors on the back end when we were still talking and telling people that I was stealing money from him. And I told him I had to address that. I said, I can't help you, even if I wanted to, but I can't help you if you're literally like going back and then telling people a different story about what happened. You need to go ahead, you need to fix this, you need to change this, because this is not helpful for me when I'm getting harassed by your people. Literally, they stalked me, he stalked me, they stalked me. I had to move like two times because of him. I had to get a restraining order, or excuse me, a protective order, just so he can stop. He came to my place of work. He harassed me altogether. He was tracking me. I was on a certain side of Texas, and he wasn't even close to that area, but he was going around there. And I know because I'd get calls from the banks, like somebody's tampering with your account and trying to do stuff. It's like, what is this man doing? Like, why won't he just let it go? And I know he was mad because I finally made the switch to not, stay with him. I finally made the decision.
Right.
We're gonna have to take this one step at a time, but I can't do this anymore. But yeah, and the way that even happened is because remember I was saying I had the nervous breakdown. I told him, years have went by and I have not been able to even provide for my family. But anytime I ask for some help to help them out, not even for me, it's not even going to me. I'm not out here buying these Gucci bags and luxury cars and doing all this other crazy stuff like he was. But I'm asking for, some money to help out my mother because of bills, because she hasn't been able to work as much. She got laid off, or, something would happen. It'd be $100 here and there. And he's literally giving like strangers thousands of dollars like women. He's paying for prostitutes. You know, he's giving, dropping like $25,000 to $3,000 on a rented Lamborghini just to show off, talking about it for marketing purposes. You know, it's just he just not laundering, but like just squandering money. And then anytime I pay over $50 for food or something that's a necessity for the actual household, it's a problem. So it was just so backwards and just unnecessary. So
Mm.
I'm sure you have.
Yeah. Yeah. Once I knew and I thought back, a lot of things made sense of what I felt. And I'm like a computer. I don't forget things, and even things that could have raised red flags to me that didn't. Retroactively, when I went back, I was like, oh man, this was obvious. But when they put that facade on and you give them the benefit of the doubt, it's just like when one wants to get credibility, it's just like individuals online. They want to be seen with people who are credible, right? And I knew that when we met, I didn't think it then, but I can introduce him to other people. And since I have a modicum of credibility online, it would help his image. I didn't think that at first, but I was glad to keep the camera on him. And, you know, even he would try to appear so nice and say, Lance, don't do anymore. You're doing so much. I'm like, no, this is what I do. And he got me. He got me. Sometimes people get you.
And it is not your fault. He like I said, he manipulated a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's not your fault. Yeah, and I know you probably got a lot of backlash from your followers too. And knowing him personally, anybody, it doesn't matter how smart you are, how many degrees you have, and you know what's your highest level of education. He just knew how to talk. He knew that's one of his gifts. That is one of his gifts. Like,
right.
He was able to appeal to whatever that person liked. So
it's very good with that.
Right. If he was trying to wow a CEO of some company so he can be a part of, you know, whatever we were trying to do, or it's like cosign, and they like the color blue, he would literally drive a blue Lamborghini and pull up in front of them and just be like, hey, you want to take a ride? And you can drive, and then have that whole day and just talk to him, feed him, tell him everything that he wants to hear, and then, you know, catch him. Like that's how
exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, the gift of gab, exactly. But he was just a mastermind at just an evil mastermind at just like manipulation. So he got a lot of people, and he just knew how to talk himself out of any and every situation. That's how people, you know, like followed him. But I kid you not, there are some people that I really am concerned about in the community, because things like this, if you see something, you should say something.
Yeah.
If you know so much about what's going on, it's very important that you speak it out, even if you're not quite sure, but just just put it out there and see where it goes. There were people who knew that he beat women and knew how he was, you know, sexually with other women. And there were way more women than who came out to actually say something, that are scared because he has threatened them to not say anything to me or to anybody else. People want to know, like, how did you not know? First of all, either I wasn't there, or he would tell me something totally different, and it'd be something, you know, you would never even know, and never think that somebody like him would even have the capacity to do something like that.
Wow.
He's duped a lot of people, and it's just, I'm glad that we're here well enough to be able to talk about it, because I really don't want to see this happen in the future to anybody. And yes, a lot of people, they wanted to protect his name because of the whole, this is a very toxic trait of our people, I have to say this, the whole keep black men out of jail thing. It's a thing.
I
However,
know. Isn't this something?
it's crazy. The problem with this is, and I stand, or I stood by that, right? But here's
Right.
the thing that has to be in place. You have to have a community that checks the people of the community, the men and the women. There has to be some type of system in place where if this person does something wrong, there's going to be a man in the, if the guy, there's
That's
going
right.
to be a man in the community that will check that person.
That's right.
This is not right, brother. This is not how you do. This is not how you talk to women. This is not how you treat them. You have to do it like this, and they'll
That's
say
right.
do something about it. It's not
But we
just
don't have that anymore. We don't have that anymore.
we don't. So we just let it happen.
Many of our men, I'm going to say it, they're bitches. And why do I use that word? Because some men are. See, it's been always where we throw that word off on women. No, the word is a state of mind that's not relegated to sex, right?
Yeah.
And too many men, just on that alone, whether it be secret societies or we're from the same neighbor, I'm gonna look out for you anyway, even though they didn't know. I don't do that. I would never.
Where they just
Once I
stand
knew,
behind each other without even thinking or just
Right.
hearing the full context. They're just like, oh yeah,
Right.
do it without
Right.
even looking
That's
at
right.
the situation. So you're just letting things slide that shouldn't be sliding.
No,
And you're wondering
I
why
can't do that.
you're wondering
If
why women are turning more masculine and getting meaner and not being able to be a woman anymore, be more
Right.
feminized. They can't.
Right.
They're on edge because they're not being protected by their men anymore.
That's what I'm saying. They're not on point and they're not on their post. I don't care who it is. If you're doing something wrong like that, I can't get down with you. And I would never say, well, Sister Isis, I can't do. No. I thought really that he was my buddy. We were cool, meaning that across the board, you have this integrity. If we're cool, you better be. I'm not saying I'm the epitome of anything, but I'm not doing stuff like that. I'm not taking from a woman what she does not want to give. See? The integrity with that. We can joke, we can laugh, we can say little things. When it comes down to it, to do something, how could you do that and derive? Is it a pleasure thing? Is it a power thing?
I have no idea.
Do you hate women?
He had 2 women, actually more than that, but 2 known women, actually 3, but that didn't work out. And he was still going out and doing all of these things. And I'm just thinking it doesn't logically make sense to me that a man who has women that love him, why would he be going out and raping people? That doesn't make any sense.
Raping.
I couldn't wrap my brain around it. I was in denial for a long time, and I just couldn't wrap my brain around it. But once I saw his lying face when we had the actual conversation, did you do it? And I understood it from when I saw it with the girl that came in that got pregnant, and from then on, and I really understood he really is lying. I could not believe it. That really put me in a deep depression for a long time. I couldn't deal with that because looking back and putting 2 and 2 together for all of the things that did happen, whether I was there or I was present and I saw some little cues and stuff, it made no sense. There are a lot more women out there that went through the same similar thing, got abused and got raped and actually had children or had to have an abortion. And he's telling the same thing. So it was a lot.
I don't.
Yeah. Oh, and sorry, we had a meeting. Actually, before he went in for good, we had a committee meeting because I saw some certain things and I was still processing. I was processing a lot, and I said we need to talk about this, and we can no longer do this. We can no longer do this in the closet stuff where behind closed doors, sweeping it under the rug thing, because this is really bad. This is when he was pleading that I come back and I stay with him, and I said I don't feel safe. I'm finally out. I don't care what type of condition I'm living in right now, I feel safe out
Right.
there, safer out here than I do in those behind that door. I don't
Mm-hmm.
feel safe with you. I don't want to work with you. I don't want to be around you, because it just got to a point where we could not have a decent conversation unless it was about work.
Right.
Because it got very personal very quick. So we had a meeting. I invited elders of our community and some people, just mutual friends, and also neutral people. And I said, we need to talk about this. So I told them, I didn't even tell them about the rape that was going on with me and him. I didn't even tell them that he was in trouble for sexual assault. I didn't even speak on that yet. I told them specifically that he's hurting people. He's hurting me, first and foremost. I don't feel safe being there. And
Mm-hmm.
immediately people just brush it right off. They're just like, oh yeah, but if he's healing people, then I shouldn't be complaining. I had it good. And they want to talk about, oh, well, he healed you. He healed you. The only thing, just like he did other people, he's very motivational. I did all of the work. That's what people don't
Yes.
understand. I did all of my healing work. Yeah, you can say people heal you all the time. You can say Jesus has healed you because you've heard so many great stories about him, but has he physically come to you and touched you and healed you? That's a no. But everybody looked at him like he was Jesus, and that was the problem. So they looked at him above them and above all else. And literally, I kid you not, there was a person that came to the stand and was like, "So what if he raped one woman?" Which is a lie, but because there's a lot more. So what if he raped one woman? He's out here. He needs to be out here because he's the only healer that can help people with cancer, help people with weight loss, help people. He should be on the street healing people. That's what a woman said that, a Black African American woman. It's horrible to think about, because there are people out there that are condoning these types of things and they're okay with this, but they never thought to maybe put themselves in my shoes, because my perspective on all of this was totally different from what other people saw. How he would take off his mask when he gets back home and he'd be a totally different person. And just almost demon like, just weird and just off. It was just so off. Yes, it was a sickness. That's what it was.
And we had some really deep conversations, even some things that I didn't record, nothing that I couldn't have recorded, but it just happened. We have conversations. I was like, wow, it's amazing how one person can have this way and this other side that you don't see, that it coexists. I just, this was one of the best, I'm not saying it's good, one of the best facades that I had to deal with. I've dealt with fraudulent people before in my personal life and pretty much decoded after a while when you see through things. And granted, it's not like I spent lots of time. I made we made those trips out there, but I'm pretty good with that stuff. And that really knocked the wind out of me. And when he would call me and try to levy accusations on you, and there was never any doubt about you, Isis. I'm saying this honestly, right?
Yeah.
But he, at one point, had got footage of you merely walking down the hall. And it may have been when you were moving or whatever, but he tried to paint that. Look, see, she was caught stealing this. And see, the other thing he would do was get women who didn't know about anything to be character references.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
He paid, actually, I remember he paid somebody. I knew he used to get prostitutes to make videos and stuff like that. It was insane. But he paid people to talk really bad about me, and then he'll show people who don't know about a situation that video so they can only see one side of the story and think, oh, she's a terrible person, you know,
Right.
she should
Right.
be reprimanded for that, you know, reprimanded for that. So just thinking back, it was like a movie, you know, he was just like a Tyler Perry movie or something.
You can't make this up. You cannot make this up.
Yeah.
You just can't.
Really.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
It took me a long time.
We don't even know how many more there out there of them out there that are victims. He's been doing this. This is nothing you decide when you get into your 30s and say, you know what, this is something I'm going to do. He's been doing this. And we might never know every single person, but there's got to be more. But I just applaud you for having the strength, because you could have just said, hey, you know, I'm done with it. I'm not gonna, but for you to spearhead the healing of other people by coming out and speaking about this, even if a person wasn't involved in this particular situation, but other situations like this.
Yes.
If they see this video, those who are involved and those who may not have been involved in this particular situation, the process of healing, the process of dealing with the anger, the depression, all the steps that go through finding out not only the other people, but even if it just happened to you, how would you advise them through the different range of emotions and feelings through what you've been through, in a way, as a bigger sister, regardless of the chronological age, but you are, and I've told you before that I'm much older than you, but I see the mothering qualities in you. And I submit to you, if you ever told me, Lance, you're wrong on this, this is what you need to do. The chronological age has nothing to do with the positioning of wisdom. And I look up to you. And I've even told you that before all of this came out. I told you that. That's how I feel about you. See, what would you tell to just soothe and help and kind of hold their hand to say, hey, I'm going to help you out with this? Talk to them.
Definitely say trust your gut from the first time. If you feel something is off and you feel anxious at all from meeting somebody and the way that they're dealing with you, it's cause for pause. At any cause for pause, you should take a minute and back up from the situation and really look. Because I know when you're dating, you don't see it. You're just seeing the butterflies. You're seeing, you know, oh, this person likes me. You know, I think we might be in love, or you might love somebody, you know, love them in the future. But it's just, it seems like roses and daisies in the beginning. And a true narcissist is not going to show themselves right away. You know, you have to just kind of have the experience or know from someone else's experience what to look for. People don't talk about what to look for in the narcissist, but if they're focusing more on them when it comes to like getting to know you, and I can tell you this right now, I know all of the things. I know everything about him. He could not even tell you my birthday, and he'd always use that as an excuse, like, oh, I don't keep up with anybody's birthday. And me coming from the background that I come from, I have Jehovah's Witnesses in my family. We don't celebrate birthdays, so I'm okay with that. But not seeing that red flag is one thing, and it's not just about birthdays. You don't know,
right? No, I understand.
You don't know what my favorite food is. You don't know anything about me. You just know that I do things for you and I help you out a lot. So you're gonna make the facade and like make me feel good in a different way, you know. But just paying attention to, is that person really giving you the attention and really understanding you as a person, and are they trying to take something away from you? Now, there's a difference between building somebody up and like breaking them down, you know. And I feel as though he broke me down into where my self-esteem was just like little to nothing, and then tried to act like he was building me up and giving me a little bit of like spoonfuls of goodness at a time, you know? And that's what happens. They'll give you this whole big buffet and then take it away one day and then feed you as you
Right.
go. So like you have to pay attention and the jump. Like, how are they treating you? Are they treating you better? And how? Oh, and another thing is, how do they treat their mom or their guardian, whoever?
That's right.
Normally, I would go for how are they treating the female in that relationship. If you're a woman, how are they treating the females? How is he treating the females in his world? And then for men, same, like opposite though. How are they treating their fathers? You know, and you can also look at moms too, but like, how are they really treating their family? He was very distant. I did not actually talk to his family like that. Maybe once or twice over the phone, like when he was talking to him, but it was very short, like hi and bye, you know, and just talking about him. It wasn't really getting to know each other. So we actually have a real conversation when he was in jail. And that was like years had went by and we had not talked, me and the family. They didn't even know much about me at all. So it was just, that's a red flag right there. If nobody,
that's a red flag, yeah.
A big red flag. And I just chopped it off as not everybody's into their families like that. Not everybody's I rationalized too much. That was my problem. That was my downfall, that I rationalized things that were not rational. So don't try to rationalize things that are not rational. Look at it as facts. What are the facts? Doesn't matter what's in front of you. Things might be glittering at the beginning, but if it's not as it seems in the back end, don't do it. Just trust your gut, trust your mind and your intuition. I was ignoring that a lot just because I felt as though a lot of the things were my fault. And he'd make me feel like a lot of the things were my fault. So like when people came and then they went, he would just give a whole reason of why they left and tie it into me. The reason why they left is because I did something, or I was too nice, or I was too weird, and I was just not accommodating, or I was mean. You know, he'd always come up with something. So like if somebody makes you feel bad, just stop. Just don't do it. You know, have that conversation first. Obviously, I'm not just telling people to break up because have an argument, but you guys should definitely talk it out. And then if there's no solution and they're not willing to fix things, then let it go. But there was a lot of red flags that I wish that I had a figure in my life to actually speak on and like tell me, okay, this is not right. Because that's the reason why I went to the community, to ask them, hey, you know, this doesn't feel right. It doesn't make me feel good. What do you think about it? But then it turns into stop putting your business out there. And I need people to stop doing this. I'm not saying throw all your dirty laundry in the street, but if there's something wrong, we should be able to talk to other peers and people who are older than us, especially. I would think more so somebody who's older and be able to speak about it. Hold on one sec. There we go. But yeah, we should be able to speak about that and get some type of solution or consensus, because we won't know if you're raised by the neighborhood. It's so important for the neighborhood to have things together. And I consider myself raised by a neighborhood. So I will trust what my neighbor has to say. Knowing now, I think the world is just different. It's not like that. It's not like how it was growing up. So that's definitely a red flag too. But it was hard for me to tell, because if people are condoning something, I'm thinking maybe this is the norm. Maybe this is how it's supposed to be. Because I've never, like before then, it wasn't like I wasn't dating a lot, but I think I had only one other long-term relationship, and that was through high school, you know. And then after high school, it was him.
It didn't count.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, not to knock it, but I'm just saying it wasn't like you're under the same roof, paying bills together, committed that way as an adult, you know, like that way. Not to minimize it. It does have effects on how we deal in the future, but that one there, you know, so really it was no real experience, like just out there, you know. But I'm disappointed in the elders today. just how they did you, that you don't put your business. Look, you got an issue here, and you're supposed to go to them.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
If back in the day, and you're saying this and you're younger than me about it was different back then. How do you think I feel when I think way back?
Yeah, no, you're right. That's when they actually did stuff about things like this. So, yeah, I know for a fact that would not fly where you came from. So
no, I remember a time where we had men. Didn't matter what they did for a living.
Yeah,
they had the integrity, and they got together and they did things. I've seen this in certain situations. One quick instance, I'll tell it in 60 seconds. When I was driving my van, they called the dollar van in New York City. Long story, most of the listeners here know. And commuter van. So I had a full load of people, mostly men. And I stopped for the stop sign. And it was right there on 109th Avenue, 135th Street, heading up toward Liberty Avenue. We saw across the street a young man, maybe 16 years old, 15 years old. He ran up on this woman, knocked her down. She had to be at least 65, 70 years old.
Oh my God.
Knocked her down and snatched her bag in the morning rush hour and darted across the street. I pulled the van over. It was almost like we had drills and training together.
Everybody came out there.
Put the van in gear, and we all the men, there were 5 of them, including me. Mm-hmm. They ran faster than me, and they had suits and ties on.
Wow.
And they got this guy. He was younger. They held him, and they did the right thing. They did call the police. In that particular instance, they could have beat him down. Mm-hmm. He did catch a few blows. But when I recognized the family he came from, I was like, listen, let's hold on to him here until the police come do it the right way. Right. See? That's what we need more of. Why can't our women walk down the street? I don't care what time of day or night.
Yeah.
Right? And feel safe coming home. I never felt afraid. My mother taught at York College and LaGuardia College, and she never drove. She'd always get rides home. But she never wanted to call me and say, hey, come get me. I'm like, don't do that. But when she would come home on the bus, she'd walk past the neighborhood dudes who were out there hustling, who we all knew and grew up with. And even some of them had the integrity to say, hey, let me carry your groceries, your bags, and walk her home to the door. Right? Community. No matter what you do, you uphold those who are there for you.
Yeah.
We don't have that anymore.
That's what I go by, though. It's like when you're family, and I'm not just talking about blood. This goes for you too. If somebody's coming after you, they're coming after me. So literally, I live by like the tribe life. I live by that type of like code of ethics, definitely. And I don't like to see anybody suffer. I don't like to see people like down on that. So I just can't fathom trying to hurt somebody, especially like the people that I love. I wouldn't now. And I want to clear this up because I know a lot of people think that I'm bitter and all, whatever the negative connotations. Mm-hmm. No, I'm healing. I don't wish jail or anything on anybody.
Right.
However, if there is no community for the checks and balances, there's no like real men that you were saying to actually check the men and women in our community. There's nothing left for us to do but get the laws involved. Like just, get the feds on it.
Right.
There's nothing else to do. And also I want to clear up this rumor. I am not even the one that put him away.
Right.
A lot of people thought that I put him in jail. That was another thing that was going on. They were like, oh, she's out for his money and I put him in jail. That's a lie. That is his karma caught up with him.
There you go. And you didn't have to do a thing. That's right.
Yeah. Karma caught up. So you think that a 9-month pregnant woman is just going to stand for getting beat dragged across the apartment floor and then chased with the knife and almost like, you know, thrown, like, no, like, and hit. Come on now. You think she's just gonna settle for that and be okay with that? It's horrible. It's horrible to hear about. And I know he did it because he did it to me. I know that. He's known for that. He's done that to more than one. He's done that to another girl that he's gotten, a lot of people that he's gotten pregnant. He's done stuff like that too. And this is what I'm coming to terms with.
Mm-hmm.
But he's just a horrible person. And if you ask him, this is the reason why I don't feel bad about it. Because he does not have that conscience to think, oh, maybe I hurt somebody. It would have been different. I would have felt a little bit of remorse and sad for him if he had that in himself. But he is a narcissist, but he's a sociopath. And he's going to make people think. He actually thought that after beating women and raping people, that he should just get off on community service.
Right. Right.
Now, if the community is not going to come check that, do something about it, even talk to him, then he needs to be put away, because he's not looking, he's going to keep doing it.
Exactly.
And just so you guys know, getting a protective order is not the easiest thing. I feel inclined to maybe make a nonprofit now just to help protect women and children. And I'm not limiting it just to women and children, but it's very, very hard to get a protective order, because you have to go through a lot of things and you have to prove that it has happened in the past, it's happening in the present, and it will continue. You need to have ample evidence to show that, to prove that. And you have to go in front of a judge and tell them what happened, what still will happen, because he's not going to stop. He's going to continue if he's on the street. And, you know, just, and then you have to get battered, verbally battered by the opposing counsel on your own character, trying to make me seem, or whoever seem like they're not that type of person. So they're gonna bash you and tell you all the things, you know, just to make you paint a picture that, you know, you're a terrible person and you deserve to continue what's going on, you know. So I had to endure that, and some other women had to do it too. And I tell people, just stay strong and do it, because do it for you. It's not going to be easy, but you have to do it for you, because in the long run, you won't have to be looking over your shoulder all the time. That's the most horrible thing, just not having people on your side and then having to look over your shoulder. I literally went to the hospital because I got hit by a truck from him and his followers. And I have had, I'm not even going to show the paperwork on here, but just know, y'all can look it up probably. I'm pretty sure there's a way to look it up or whatever. But I had to go to the hospital because of that. And it took me a minute to really just like come out and talk about this stuff, because I went through so much shit. I wasn't even around him, but he, you know, decided he just did not want to let this go. We've been together for so long, and I need to be the one in his corner doing things for him. I was just no longer able to. With that, there's just so much that happened within that short time period. So it's just, I tell women, protect yourself, protect your mind, protect your energy. You know, don't associate with people who don't see you and don't have your best interest at heart. That is all.
And I would also say maintain your sense of individuality. Yeah. You know, you can lose yourself. And that's the goal of these guys, to take you away from you knowing who you are, to take you away from family and friends who will independently support you, to take you away from the ability to make money or control the money that you have. There's nothing wrong. Any good man, number one, is going to make sure that you're good if something happens to him, provided he's not doing any of those things to you. He wants to set you up. Sweetheart, if something happens to me, you have money. Mm-hmm. And you have money in an account of your own. If he loves you, right? Yeah. And if he's sincere, he won't feel threatened by you having your own money in your own account. And because the monsters
Yeah.
Don't want you to have that ability to just up and have your own finances, and he should contribute to those finances.
Mm-hmm.
There are people who are going to get on and say, oh, you're just catering, you're just simping. No, I want you to know that I love you, and I want you to know through my actions that there's nothing funny going on here as far as me still wanting to see you be independent and know yourself and accomplish the things that you want to accomplish, your goals. Don't lose yourself in me. We have overlap. We undergird each other. But it's not going to be so much where I take who you are and pull it to my side, where you're nothing if I want to control you, or if I even drop dead or leave. Some men take joy in that. Girl, you better be glad you have me, because without me, you wouldn't have this, you wouldn't have that.
That's exactly how it sounded too. It made me feel like nothing. And I was literally doing everything. He even, one of our arguments that we had, and it was a big argument, was because he didn't give me any credit for the books that I wrote. Now, there's a difference between somebody ghostwriting for you and then someone like transcribing. So transcribing is when it's literally coming from your mouth and somebody's writing it down.
Right.
And ghostwriting, well, I think I said that wrong, but ghostwriting, I literally wrote all of the books. And he'll put an idea in my head about what we should write about, and I will go from there. I will be like, I got it. Right. So
you're brilliant like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he'll stick his name on it and be like, okay, I accomplished this. So to me, like, behind closed doors, we accomplished this. But when he's talking, he's like, oh yeah, I wrote 10 books and, you know, did all this stuff. And it was horrible, because I remember one time I even wanted to publish my own book that had nothing to do with educational purposes. I just wanted to do like fiction writing, because I loved it. I literally had dreams of certain topics, and I said, I want to write. And I wake up and start writing, and it would just be an amazing story, you know? Didn't want me to put it out there. I finally did, but he did not want me to start my own line of anything, you know? Even he didn't want to give me credit for any of this stuff. And it was just so sad, because now people are like, well, he's the one that did the company. You should be ashamed. People were pissed off at me for not even being at the arraignment, or is it called arraignment? When he had to show up for court and everything and get his punishments and stuff. I wasn't there. First and foremost, I wasn't there because I wasn't summoned. And normally when you have a protective order, you're not supposed to just show up, because you're messing up your own protective order, you know? If I'm not summoned, there's no need for me to
it's like a violation, you know, because you can leap up and try to do something. Yeah,
of course. And that's
a glitch.
And what if I wanted to be there, what would I say? Because I have to tell you all the truth. I think he did it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did it. You know, and there was no need, but people were so pissed off at me for that. But I still continue the medicine. I just want to put this whole chapter behind. I want to get this off my back and let people know the truth, and let people know that just because this bad apple is behind bars, which is great, I'm glad that he's no longer hurting people, doesn't mean he have to skip out on healing and die. Okay? I want to let everybody know that things are still moving. I created my own company. That previous one was my company, but I don't want any association anymore. I don't want anything to do with the company. Now I am Limitless Wellness. I just want people to understand that things will still be moving. I'll still be able to help people if they're willing, if they want to. They're seeking for healing. I'm there for you guys, and I want to continue keeping it on a positive note. And I no longer ever want to talk about this again. If you have questions, you guys ask me, you know, I'll answer you guys freely. Now I'm finally in a space too. It took me a long time to be able to even come out and say these things, because every time I couldn't get through this much dialogue with you guys without breaking down. It was just so bad.
Right. Understood.
To a few therapists because of this stuff, you know, and I feel it's really weird, because I've overwhelmed my therapist. There were like at least 3 people that could not take my story. Like I had to get literally had to get another therapist because it was too overwhelming for them.
Wow.
Some of them disclosed that it was a lot. Some of them didn't and just kind of faded in the background and never like got another, like, you know how they do recurring appointments and
they just left it alone.
They stopped, literally stopped. So I'd have to find somebody else. So it was a lot to deal with. And I was diagnosed with actual PTSD because of all of this stuff. So I take my own medication for it. I take my own herbs. I try my best to stay 100% natural with everything. So, but it has been a challenge. I will say that. It's definitely been a challenge, especially not having the support, because a lot of people thought that I was the enemy, you know.
That's terrible. That's terrible. But you're moving past this now. And I want everybody who is listening, like Sister Isa so beautifully said, she's over talking about it. I know you still have more healing to do, but don't come to her. You don't contact her and but what happened here? And this, no, don't, just leave it alone. This is for you to define the parameters. And yeah, when you get into a fight, you're going to catch bruises. You're going to, and this is with the emotional thing, the physical stuff, the spiritual stuff. You still need healing, and you're doing this well. I applaud you, and you got so much greatness inside of you that cannot be stopped. The more opposition we have in life, it's that negative energy that wants to keep the positive from coming out into the world. You have so much goodness inside of you. You're a really great and good person with so much love in your heart. And in this world today, the way it is, with so much spiritual wickedness going on, they don't want you in existence to do what you're put here to do. You know, I don't know if your screen froze up again. I think it did. And if it did, just hang up and call back again. And I'll let you, continue on and eventually, have your I don't want to say final words, but, wrap up, which I'm not rushing because, okay, let me let you back in. Yeah. Turn your phone, if you can, to the landscape mode. It's okay if it's like that, though.
Oh.
Yeah. There you go.
Hopefully it'll stay.
Right.
Right. Yeah, I had to just go ahead and do it on the phone.
It's okay. If we can see that beautiful head wrap that you have, just tilt it up a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to just stand. I need to.
Yeah. Well, no, you're good. You're good.
1 second.
All right.
Let's fix this. So continue on with that. I'm a fixer, so one of those. I try to, if there's a problem, I try to just fix it and move on. That's it.
Yes. Sister Gifty, yes, she is going to definitely write a book about everything. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
That's good.
Awkward. Okay. Yeah.
There you go.
All right.
Yes. Wow. The most of your life is ahead of you. There's more, as time goes on more and more, it's going to reduce this thing, and you're going to be even more of what you are now. The love, the caring. And we know that we don't have community and village like we used to have before, but I know you will keep that intact and let it expand and show the beauty to the people what this is all about. Because our society is moving so far away from that. And that a person like him can get away with so much. It caught up with him, but we got to make sure these things don't happen. There you go. I can see in your eyes you want to touch it again. It's good. It's good.
There we go.
Mm-hmm. I know it. All right. Yeah, now it's kind of sliding down on you. Put it up the way you had it before. You can put it vertical. Don't, worry yourself. Yeah, I guess you'll come back on in the landscape mode. I want to thank you all for being here. And, we had planned doing this show, but from a while back, a couple of weeks, we spoke on it even long before. And I told her only when you're ready, because I know how these things can be with healing. And when you talk about things that you've been through and the emotional letdown, could you imagine all of these things happening at one time? Most of us out here, I'm not saying anybody here in this particular chat, because there are a lot of exceptional people here too, but most, it wouldn't have turned out like this. You good? There you go.
I think we're good. Because nobody's like, yeah.
Wow.
I need to screw it. That's what it is. I need to screw it.
Yeah. No problem.
Yeah. But yeah. What,
I know you're gonna mess with it again. We're good. We can see more of the head wrap when you lean back some, but I know whatever. We're good. We're having fun. And I want to say you're very fun to be around.
thank you.
You really are. We had some fun out there. Regardless of, and we can't separate that, but I know there's no question as to who you are in my mind. I already know that. There's no doubt, never was no doubt. Anybody watching this and listening to you, even though it was emotional and painful, they can see your heart. And that's where it's all coming from. You have a wonderful, loving heart. You really do.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad that you see me, and it makes me feel, better about the situation, because that took a lot of me, and I had to really work on myself during that time and after. That took a lot of work, just not to be some bitter, damaged type of person, after all of this happening. It took a lot of inner work. I really just wanted nothing but to be angry, and that I didn't want to keep staying in that cycle, the constant cycle. That's where you get really messed up, is when you can feel all of those emotions. And this is what I'm learning. It's okay to feel angry, and it's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel all of the wide range of emotions, but it's not okay to stay in it. You have to move from that. Otherwise, you start dealing with like chronic grief and like betrayal and denial of things, and go through like all of the stages of when somebody dies, basically. So yeah, it's really hurtful, because in a way it's somebody did. It's like your old self, and in your old life, what you thought was okay and what you thought was period. So when you go from that, and then your whole paradigm reality change, and you realize that more than half of it was a lie. It's traumatizing. That's really all you can say. All I can say is it's traumatizing. But I've done a lot of healing and inner work to be able to talk about it. So I appreciate you for giving me the platform to do this, and just hopefully help other people out there who are going through the same similar situation. And not only that, but maybe encourage some girls to come forward. I know there's a lot.
I think you're breaking up a little bit as far as the audio. So just come a little closer if you can?
I think it's the fan. Let me think.
Oh yeah, fans do that. Yeah. I can see you now. Yeah, since you mentioned the fan, that's it.
Is that better? Because I can hear it. Okay. What are you drinking? Coconut water?
Grape nectar.
Ooh, okay.
I had some beetroot earlier, and it was delicious. And it's not from concentrate. It's in a container, but there's like a short shelf life with it. You have to sell it by a certain time. That's what kind of convinced me that. That's why my lips are looking kind of purple. But I bought some beetroot earlier, and I chug-a-lugging it down. And the first time I had it here this way, I know what it does to your body. I thought I was bleeding to death when I went to the restroom.
You do, yeah.
I was like, oh my God. Yeah.
What did I eat? I think it was like some type of red pop, like a cherry popsicle or something. And oh my God.
No, and it was a beautiful dish that you shared with me. But I didn't check my messages after we got off the phone. I was like, let me go to bed or whatever have you. And I woke up, I was like, whoa. Everybody had to know how much of a wonderful, I'll say, chef Sister Isis. Oh, wow. You throw down.
I'm a foodie. So, and I've been vegan for all of those years that we've been together, almost 8 years now. And I love it. I love to experiment in the kitchen and like make really amazing, good food. So I made some garlic potato cake. It was kind of like the substitute for the bread. Some spaghetti squash with some herbs in it. And then I made my own tomato sauce, like meat sauce.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And some broccoli, like some Alfredo tossed broccoli. It wasn't Alfredo. What was it? They use like Caesar dressing. All of it's vegan, so don't worry. But
and the love you put into it, that makes a difference. And anybody can get a recipe and throw something together, but the love, the way you're explaining it, I already know. I already know.
I also like pancakes and waffles, and I make everything. So I like to. That's why I have my potlucks. I have vegan potlucks. I try to bring together, and the best way to bring people together is by food.
Right.
So.
Right. Exactly. Nobody wants to fight and fuss over food when there's good food in front of them, made in love.
That part.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
But just to look at you and see that you're on your way is a wonderful thing, because you have to also take credit, because your mind, your heart, and all that you've given is coming back to comfort you after you get through this, which is still a process. Tears will flow. Like I always say, when the tears flow, it's emotional sweat. That's all it is. From what you've been through, and when we let the tears out, it's just emotional sweat. You're in the gym working out, you sweat. You've been through something emotionally. It's a release. It's a very important release, and it doesn't mean that you're weak. You know that. And you know that when you come back to this video, you're going to see many loving comments. And I'm willing to bet, I can even say I know it for a fact, that there's so many people out here. We know there are haters who want to hold on to a certain facade that wasn't real. Mm-hmm. I'm willing to bet the way you have touched people with your spirit in earnest, there are more people out there that love you than you will ever know. Than you'll ever know. When you see a map of a storm and you see the purple where it's the heaviest and the blue when it's dark, and you see the edges where it's orange and red and yellow, if we can see the effect of your love that you've given out to the world, the whole world would look like the blues and the dark purples because your love is that strong. In places you don't know, I'm out here in West Africa. I love you. You can call me anytime. You can call us anytime. And there are people all over the world that I'm not saying you forgot them, but they may not be around you all the time. And sometimes we kind of fade in our memory. But you've given so much more love, and it's time for you to receive it back. An emotional, mental, spiritual, and physical tax return for all the work that you've done, because you've earned it. You've earned it. And I just want to say for everybody in the chat room that we love you. We love you.
I love you all.
Even coming here for the first time, they got to love you.
I do.
You deserve nothing else but that. You reap what you sow. We usually say that in a negative way, but that pendulum swings the other way too.
Yes.
Reaping what you sow. And the love you've given, like I said, you've given me love. You've talked to me. You've counseled me. Yes. And it's sincere. So you're going to get it right on back. You should never, ever feel, I know there's pain and things that's still going to come out. It's like a bad meal, but that's all it is. It's not going to stop you from your mission and what you're put here to do. And you are a divine mother, and you've been a mother to me with my old behind.
You always you're always going to be 35, okay?
Yeah, I'm not 36 for another 30 years, anyway.
We age different anyway.
Yeah, I know. I've been through a lot, and I'm still here. And I'm looking forward to my best years. And I mean that. And I'm going to use every minute, hour, decade, month, just to be here to help in any way that I can, whether it's on this platform or face-to-face, whichever. It's what we do. Whatever's in our path, we'll deal with it. Yeah. And I'm with you on that. If you said, Lance, come out here to Houston, we need you out here for a month, I'm like, okay, I'm ready tomorrow morning.
Definitely, that would be fun. So if you ever do decide you want to come back to the U.S., definitely have a room with us. So.
I'll be there. When all these things are done, I'll be there.
You'll definitely be fed too.
I know. I like to eat. And I'm not a bother any other way. You know what I mean? I go with the flow. You're doing this today. You're doing that today. Oh, we're going to stay in. No problem.
I definitely need to come out to West Africa too. So that's been on the bucket.
You got a room here to stay too. You got places. You got a whole lot of space here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about it.
Yeah. I'll talk your ears off. I'll make you laugh. You'll be well fed. And you'll love it. And I'm your bodyguard, so you don't have to worry about nothing at all.
I'd appreciate that.
Yes. It's a pleasure just to sit here and even just look at you. It's everything's going to be all right. And you know that. Yeah. Everything's going to be all right.
I believe everything is in divine purpose.
Yeah.
I learned from all of them, including other people's experience.
Yes, understood.
I already know that. This was definitely going to be pain. And definitely, get deeper understanding of everything that went on. Know that a lot of it is so cool through this, So I'm here. Going for it. So in 10 years, you get to see a completely different place. Maybe I'll have a state next door to you or something. That was something.
Oh yeah. Hey, look. Whatever we project Everything that we see in the world is a product of a thought. It's just a matter of making things happen. And while we're here, we are creators, and so we're going to do that. And we'll come back and look at this video and say, man, look at the things they projected. And it came true. You know? You've done so much under duress that now without that, you can flap your wings even easier. You know?
Mm-hmm.
If you can do so much, if you could run the race and win the race with 50 pounds of weight in a knapsack behind you and still whip everybody, it's not a competition, but you know what I mean? Imagine now being free and clear over the clouds. Where once it looked like a rainy day. Now you bust through the clouds and you see the sun and you see how high the sky really is. And you know those birds, when they get up high in those winds, they're flapping when they're trying to get up there. Once they're up there, they're just chilling. And that's where you are right now. You'll see. Effortless.
I received that.
Yeah.
Received that.
It molded your character even more. And the pain you went through is unfortunate, but it'll make you more of also a military general to man and woman your post.
I feel like that.
Because when you look over the horizon, nothing's going to fool you. You'll see it coming long before, and you'll be able to speak to someone who may be going into a situation that you conquered. Mm-hmm. So you have a higher value now in this plane, and you're going to be rewarded for it. You compensated for it in ways that you couldn't imagine. Trust me, I could see that. I can see that. We love you and you're great. You got the seeds of greatness inside of you. And I just can't wait to see the beauty that manifests from inside of you. I know you have a lot of good things inside of you, good ideas, good things, and it's going to help everybody. It's not just for your own selfish reason. But yeah, if you do gain from anything, yeah, sure, because you paid the price. But I know that's not your heart. But you're going to heal the world around you and beyond and leave a mark. So write those books.
I will.
And
I'm working on them now. I'm working on the memoir right now. I'm getting it together piece by piece. I have to go slow on it because I begin to have like little episodes with just going deep into what happened on a detailed note. So I have to take breaks and take the day off, or I really can't do that. So it's coming. It's just been taking my time on it and being gentle with myself. I know that what I went through is not easy, and I know that for a fact because of the the experiences I've had with my own therapist. So if therapists get overwhelmed with what you're going through, what you went through, then it could be probably something I need to be very particular about when it comes to me. And I'm very protective over me now. I wasn't before, but now I understand what it means to put yourself first and self-care all the time. You know, it's so important. People write it off. They don't really understand how important it is to put yourself first and really take the time to treat yourself almost as if you're your baby. You know, treat yourself as your child, because you do have the inner child in you that is still not that. Are you gonna give me attention? You know, taking the time to nurture that. Book is coming on the way. You know. So people who probably missed it be able to understand both what happened, opposed to just hearing one side of the story. So.
You're kind of breaking up again, like with the fan before. I don't know what it is now, but it's kind of breaking up a little bit, just a little bit.
How about now? Maybe I
Okay,
should
keep
talk.
talking.
Yeah.
Keep talking. Let me hear.
Yeah. So, book's on the way.
Yeah, it's better. It's better. It's better.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want you to keep us posted with everything, because you're part of my family, and just the same way I'm connected to many people here. It means a lot to me to support and in my own way, put the word out there. This gives meaning to my life. You sharing this and all who have shared things they've gone through, it subsidizes my spirit, and it validates what I'm supposed to do in this world. Although there are other things that I'll be doing also, but we have to be here for each other that way, even if we don't live in the same city or state. Look at me, I'm way over in West Africa right now, and we're talking like this. But it's not about the distance, because love knows no fatigue in its reach geographically to other members of your family and your friends in your circle. It doesn't get tired. If I love you, I can't say, wow, she's all the way in Texas. She's several hours behind me. You know what I mean? I can't love her that's how it works. When you project the love and that feeling and encouragement, you feel it instantaneously, because the spiritual thing is not ruled by the physical. If I send you 10 parts love, it's not like you get it and say, I only got 3 parts. Well, 2 parts fell off the truck. 4 parts got tired. You know what I mean? Or it's spoiled. No, it amplifies and it's constant. So I want everybody to always, keep Sister Isis in your thoughts. And when you think about her, just send the positive energy in your thoughts. It may not even come in the form of an email or some verbal announcement, but just feel her and send her that energy from your heart. We have so much power as who we are, and we don't know how to activate it most of the time. There have been people I've thought about. I sit here at this desk a lot doing different things, and I play a little YouTube sometime, and I play songs from the 70s and late 60s, things I remember, distant memories. And 9 times out of 10, if I play a certain song and I'm sitting here cracking up, laughing at a story, something simple, something stupid that me and friends, we remember, the phone rings and it's them calling me.
Yes.
No, it has been happening more now.
Yeah.
That I have time to meditate and really think. I could not believe it. I was walking in the supermarket one day. I was telling Mr. SCURV about one of my friends, and he called. I was in here a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. Somebody I haven't spoken to maybe like a year. And we're everyday kind of, but he's real busy. And I got real busy.
I think you just cut off. I don't know if you can hear me.
Buffering. Yeah. My internet starts freaking out around a certain time. But I walked over to the window and I was going to look outside and call him. And as soon as I lifted the phone up to start dialing, he called. I was hysterical for like 15 minutes of the call. I said, you think I'm joking? This is real, man. This thing. I've been thinking about you. I said, I got to call you. And he did it. This is how we're connected. Yes.
I received that too. Me, like, but
Well, you broke up a little bit, sweetheart. You broke up. Just come a little closer to the. Yeah, I can hear you closer. Yeah.
I was saying, sometimes or some days, like I'll be like, Lance has been kind of quiet, and then
it's like that, yeah. And due to the situation, I know that lots of times your energy may be so focused on healing and meditation, and so it's like sometimes I'm like, let me just whatever. But now, listen. Anytime you need me to talk your ears off, you just ring the phone. And if I sense your energy, I'm calling you.
Yes.
Yes.
And vice versa. Same here.
That's right. That's right. So to me, it's more than a show. It's more than, oh, I just have this YouTube channel. You know, you're connected to so many people that you don't even know yet that love you. And so we have to tile that in now, because there are storms in the world coming that we're not supposed to be afraid of. But if we lack the unity in the storm, that's when it will start to work on us. So we have time. We have a good amount of time to hunker down and get to know each other, get to network with each other, to reach out to each other, to say, hey, I'm just calling to say, is everything okay? Just reaching out. I'm going to do a little 90-second call on you too lots of times. Hey, you all right? Okay. That way you won't have to be scared that I'm going to talk your ears off. I always say that, but we need to do that more, really. Just so that, wow, he called me. He called me. I feel a little better if you were feeling down, or just wherever you are. Can't talk, Lance, I'm busy. No, you all right? I'm all right. Okay, call me when you can.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
And you can do that 24/7, and I'm good with that. You know?
Yeah.
Because we have to feel that connection in our hearts, knowing that we have backup.
Right.
We walk around in the world now knowing or thinking we're alone and stuff. And we don't know what the next person is going through. And here we are, next to somebody who's going through the same thing, where we can soothe each other. Or maybe you went through something, the next person needs you. And you think, because like I said before, most of us say, how you doing? Oh, I'm all right. You don't have to tell me your life story, but sometimes they're not all right. See? And so we're going to give that love anyway. You know, it's just like a person giving out food. You know, you got a cookout going on and there's somebody well-dressed and you think they got it going on. You say, hey, man, you don't know them real good. Just go over there and get a plate of food. They're around the corner like this. Yo, I was hungry. I haven't eaten in 3 days. But we don't know that.
Yeah.
It's not just the food, but the emotional and the spiritual. People will gravitate.
Yeah.
There have been times I've been on a bus talking to somebody while I was driving the bus. You know, we're having a deep conversation because I know them. I got to know them over time. And there's somebody sitting back in the middle of the bus who eases up and sits down. And so I look at him. I said, oh, you want to get off? Next stop? No, brother. I just want to hear what you guys are saying because it's speaking to me. And you're at the red light, you turn around to say something to them, and you see tears coming down your eyes. That's something.
Yeah.
We gravitate toward the goodness and what goodness is put out. We have so many wicked people out here that we just rope-a-dope it. We just hide and say, we defend ourselves and we put up a shell. We got to be able to bare our souls sometime when we see that when you see somebody come to you a certain way and you know you can talk to them, that's a divine blessing, but that's how things work. Whatever you need in nature, on a spiritual, physical, any level, it's there for you.
Exactly.
How do we pick a planet that has the perfect climate, especially near the equator where I am? The food is growing. It's warm. You have materials to build a structure. We didn't choose that, right? But there are forces out here that don't want the natural world to thrive. People want to control it. I'm not going to go off on that tangent. All I'm saying is that you have a reason for being here. The spiritual nourishment, share it with those who need it, and you'll never lack. This is why in making this move, I've been through a lot, as you well know, but I never look back. And now we're at a point now where the light is well more at the end of the tunnel. It's up on us right now. And you know, we went through a lot. And there's so much more I got to tell you at another time to show the victory. But when you know you have a purpose and you know you have a good heart, nothing can stop you. When you know you have a destiny, nothing can stop you. And you're supposed to move that way, even if it doesn't look good. I don't care if I'm behind on points. I don't care if I got knocked down every round. I'm getting up. Even the last round, you're going to lose because you're behind on points. Well, I'm going to knock you out. I'm not saying you or anybody. I'm just saying this is how we have to know that we're empowered on a divine level.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you reflect that. because you're right here and you're smiling. Sometimes it hurts still, but it's going to be better and better with each passing day.
That's right.
And you never know what each day is going to bring. You wake up and I'm excited with every single day. It's like, man, what am I going to accomplish? Who am I going to meet? Who can I do something for? Right? Maybe I'm needed over here. Sometimes I'm going places and I'm, down here. It's so new for me. And I'll go out and walk and someone says, turn down that street. And I say, why? Turn down the street. And I just walk down there. And there's some person that I'm supposed to talk to that we sit there and talk for 3 hours and take a walk. I might get them something to eat, whatever. And I'm like, wow, that was the day.
See, yeah, you treat life like an adventure. That's how I live. Like,
it is.
Every day.
It is. It's a big adventure.
Yeah. Always.
And I'll be, my camera's around here somewhere, but y'all know I got it. I always got the camera with me. So if something good happens, and I upload it, Yes, indeed. So I could feel your calm and your need to rest, whatever, because you know me, I'm a dynamo. Keep on going.
I really appreciate you having me on the platform to be able to speak my truth. And just it's always you each and every time. You're always a ball of light, and you always have the stories. I love it every time. It's like a different story. Dang, how much life has
you know what? After 60 years, I better have some stories, right?
Each story is just new and different. I'm like, dang, okay.
I got a story for every category. I used to have a guy in Home Depot when I used to work there. It was the early 90s. I was like about 30 years old. What was his name? Oh, man, I forgot his name. A Latino brother. And before he left before me. His shift was over before me. It was overlapping. And so he'd walk up and say, hey, Lance. I say, what? Tell me a story. I used to have people call me up at night because I'm a night bird anyway.
Just to be entertained.
Lance. And I'm like, what? I can't sleep. What you want me to do? Tell me a story. This is from decades ago. Yeah. What happened today? I know something different happened today. And I tell them, yeah. And I had people to vouch for me also, so I wasn't making it up. You know what I mean? We go somewhere. I said, listen, tell my friend what happened when I was over here the last time. Oh, man, so. But I know I tell it a certain way, Yeah. I love that. There were people who they were on time for the bus ahead of me, but if they knew I was working, they'd wait for the next bus. Hey, Lance, we waited for you. I say, okay, I'll give you a story. Anyway, I want to just say, have a wonderful evening, wonderful night. And I just want you to come on more. And it doesn't have to be about that. You got so much going on. Even if you say, Lance, I only got 30 minutes, whatever. I'll try to keep you for an hour, 30 minutes, 2 hours. But if you have only 30 minutes, 15 minutes, or just want to record something with me to share with the world, do that. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for.
I have a lot to say, and we have a lot of really deep conversations that we should definitely put out there.
That a certain theme, whatever you want to talk about, I'm good with that, But it's just, you're going to have to tell me when to shut up.
Okay, I'm going to bed now. No, but you're good. I love that. Thank you. You're very passionate about what you talk about. So yeah, I'm all for that. I'm all for the passion, like learning something new or hearing a new story. So
yeah, oh yeah. You're backed up. I got too many for you. There's too many for you. So dial in when you want, and pick a category, and I got you.
Okay. Definitely got you. Right.
Wow. So you have a wonderful night. I know you want to relax, whatever. I'm gonna be up for a couple more hours. I know it's 5:18 or 5 whatever, but I know I'm gonna be up till 9 or 10 in the morning. This is one of those nights I feel charged, and the sun's coming up soon. I'm gonna take a little walk or something, and I'm gonna create something. I'm gonna do something. There's a banner I have to make for this new program, so a platform. So I don't care about time. You know, with me, if I feel it, like, okay, let me lay down for 3 hours. Let me lay down for 5 hours. Sometimes I lay down for 12 hours or whatever happens, happens. It's not like when you go to the bathroom, well, today I'm going to go to the bathroom exactly 4:30 and at 8 o'clock. No, I don't know. I just go with the flow.
Yeah.
And you got me feeling really high right now to see how you've surmounted all of this and can shine so beautiful to the world and encourage many people through what you've been through. And I thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh.
Really appreciate it. Gratitude for all of it.
Yes. Yes. Okay, sweetheart, I know I don't want to go, but I know you got to rest. That means it's good. You know, when you had that good meal, you don't want to push yourself away. You push yourself away from the table. You just sit there. You can't eat another bite. There's one more bite, and you're just sitting here like, I feel good. That's the way I feel right now. And thank you. All right. So give me a call a couple days when you can, and we'll plan something. All right.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
All right.
Definitely.
So
all right. You have a good night.
Rest of your night.
Mm-hmm.
And storytelling.
You got it. Thank you, sweetheart. Okay. Yes. What a beautiful, what a beautiful, even throughout the pain and the facts of what has happened, what a beautiful exchange. And this is how we have to use these platforms, you know? Just a nice little chat in the living room. That's what it is. It's not any big production trying to be fake and all of this. No, let's just talk from the heart. That's what it's all about. That's what gives me meaning in my life. Seriously, you know, and it's a wonderful night. And I wish her more strength and more energy and more positivity as she continues to heal. And for the ladies out there, just be careful. You can never vet a person too much. People manipulate. They can see the cracks in your armor of things that may have been there from childhood, you know, certain propensities. And it's got to be where they're protective of you. If they're setting you up and it's a one-sided deal, then you got to see it ahead of time, because there's so, and the word came to me, manipulationships. You heard it here first. Manipulationships. I'm going to talk about that at some point this week. There's so much that I have to talk about, but somebody steal that word. Just know that you heard it on this particular day. What is this? July 20th now, you know? But creativity flows freely with me, so I don't try to hog anything. But yeah, it's a lot to think about, and I want you to ponder that. Look out for your sisters and your daughters, even your aunts and those who have mothers who may be, you know, single. And the female energy is so abused, and we come all from a woman. And some of us sometimes have this, we despise them. We want to control them. We want to, I don't know what's going on in this world. Why would you do stuff like that? But it's not going to happen anymore as far as he is concerned. But there are people out here we have to watch out for. And brothers, we have to be on point. If you see something, we know how it is when you walk up to a couple and maybe the man is manhandling the woman, and, you know, even she might turn on you sometimes. You know, we don't know, but at least we have to have our presence there where people know that you can't cross the line in these parts, in this community, around me or you or whatever. Even if it's a stranger who's a brother witnessing something, hey, you look at him and it's like, yo, we got to get involved with this here. We got to get involved with this here. We got to be fearless about it. Yeah, we got to be a little diplomatic, but it's like, hey, listen, this can't happen around me, man. That's wrong. No matter what she did. I've been done some dirty deals and dirty deeds, and I've walked away from certain things, seen it and walked away. Y'all know, I've told you stories. I say, nah, there's another day for me. There's another time for me to grow, more realities for me. And in any situation, don't do anything drastic, because you have so many wonderful realities waiting for you. If I did something stupid back when certain things happened to me in 1993, I wouldn't be here in West Africa, which for me is a place that I want to be. It may be somewhere else for you. It may be in the same city that you want to stay. But the new realities, the new people, friends you have yet to meet, moments that you have yet to enjoy, food that you have yet to digest, even if it's that, because you'll know I love to eat. But whatever it is, never throw it away for something that is pushing you to the edge to do something drastic. You know, sometimes as a fighter, when you watch fighters, they're winning a fight, but they have a round where they don't do much. They're actually resting, thinking, planning, righteously scheming for when they come back and knock the guy out or outpoint him or whatever. Life is like that. Life can be a fight. It's not where we're supposed to be here for things to be super easy, because these things are supposed to mold our character, give us wisdom, so that when we transition, we're better off. There's some, we don't take our cars and our houses, but I always say that this level is an assessment exam to know where to place you. No matter what your religion is, this is such a short time that we're here. So we have to understand that what we do here does count. It doesn't mean you're gonna let nobody walk all over you or dictate your life. Like Sister Einstein said, self-preservation. Preserve yourself, take care of yourself. When we have a giving spirit, sometimes so many people out here in the world that are leeches and takers and manipulators, they say, oh, you're a giving person, I'm gonna keep on taking, and make you feel guilty for not giving more while you walk around here drained. That's not right. So anyway, I'm gonna wrap this down. I'm gonna cover up. I didn't even make a banner, which I'll probably do another time, because like I said, I'm like a fireman. I said, call me when you're ready. She called, boom. Got it together real quick, and we're here. So that's how we roll. So anytime you have the contact information below, reach out to me if you have a story or something you want to share. It doesn't have to be where you show your face. You can hide your face. It doesn't have to be where you even speak. If you want to write something on any one of the platforms here that we have, or just do an audio and send it to me, fine, whichever way. But somebody will resonate with what you have to share. Know that. Don't think you're alone, and don't think you have no use because somebody made you feel like you're worth nothing or your esteem is feeling low. You're a tool. Like I said to my dear sister earlier, I'm going to say this and I'm going to shut up after this. The common tools in the toolbox, the hammer and the screwdriver, we use them more. And sometimes the hammer and the screwdriver gets a little uppity, right? Because there's a tool in the box that's never used that much. And sometimes that particular tool may feel like, oh, I'm useless. I'm never used as much on the different construction sites. But that tool has to understand that even though it's not used as much as the hammer or the screwdriver, the hammer and the screwdriver can't do what it does. It may be used more, but it doesn't mean that other tool is less valuable. So now when you're finally used or utilized, the hammer and the screwdriver has to bow because they can't do what you do. So we all have a purpose and we all have a reason for being in this life. If you're not utilized as much, don't think you're not worth anything, because there's not a damn thing that the hammer and the screwdriver can do when it's time for you to fulfill your destiny on that work site. On that, I will leave you. I'll come back later on, may come back in 2 hours. Might sleep and wake up and want to talk some more, right? But I'm going to get a little nap right now. Well, no, I'll be up for another 2 hours or so, and then I'll nap. I don't know. I'll play it by ear. But I just want to say what a lovely evening I had, or morning, actually, because the sun's coming up in about 30 minutes over here in Accra, Ghana. 0 latitude and 0 longitude. I just love the fact that it's that way. I don't know why, but it's a beautiful thing. And we're going to talk later on. Reach out to me anytime and know that I love you all. Much love. Peace.
Hey, this is Oscar the Lawyer. You're listening to the LANCESCURV Show.
For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen, let's get